Hello.
Okay. And there we go. Alright. Yeah, sorry about that. Again, just getting everything set up. And also, just a preface, I am feeling a little under the weather, so if my voice sounds a little different, that's why. Anyway, continuing on from where we last left off, we are heading into a trial of case... Wait, actually, hold on. Let me,
Two.
Yeah, let me get, actually, Elgato reactivated real fast, since I'm hearing a little audio desync. Okay, there we go. Ah!
This is it then, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, it's time to put an end to this now. To the miserable curse that's been plaguing Mr. Natsume. To everything!
In my own small way, I should do everything I can to help you.
I always appreciate your help, Mr. Sato. Suffering Tsuseki selfishly sidelined! Good morning to you too, Mr. Natsume. Guys, Jason is just gonna be a little late. That's all, guys. Don't worry. Good morning! Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! Listen to you two chatting away happily as if the main player of today's trial isn't here! Why would you do that? Why?
Oh dear, we didn't mean to cause offense, Mr. Natsume. I thought perhaps because you had your eyes shut so tightly, you were meditating, fine inner calm. It seems wrong to disturb you.
I was waiting! What's the matter, Mr. Natsume? You seem different somehow today. Why, naturally, it's because I've obtained a spiritual enlightenment. The path of literature, you see, is a journey to discover one's own death. Or such like. That sort of morning conversation I was hoping for! That's why I had my eyes shut! I missed the sights, I'm afraid, somehow. You'll have to forgive me.
And you mustn't talk to your path leading to your death, Mr. Natsume.
That was just an example! Oh, yes, there is. Inner calm. You barely came to see me at all yesterday. I was sure you abandoned me and returned to our beautiful long-lost homeland.
Not even begun in Great Britain a week yet.
Yes, well, anyway. I intend to set everything straight in court today. I'm determined to uncover the truth. I've actually reached an important decision myself. Oh, what sort of decision? I shall fill you in after the trial. Alright.
It would seem. Mr. Sholmes isn't coming today after all. It's a very clever message, I think. My dear fellows, you must win the battle into your own merits.
It's a very clear message, I think, that he's overslept again. The great detective, my arch nemesis. Long Bessie, stay away! If you ask me.
Defendant, your legal representative. The trial is about to begin. Make your way to the courtroom immediately.
Today, once again, we face the Reaper. And when the Reaper stands in the prosecution, the defense fate is sealed. But I don't believe that legend anymore. I believe in Tsuseki-san's curse. The truth is hidden here somewhere, and I won't let it escape me. I have to keep believing in my client and fighting till the very end. That's all. Alright, Dave.
Let's go. These poor jurors.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I call upon the counsels of the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
The prosecution is ready. Yes, the defense is ready.
Very good. Now I call upon the 6 ladies and gentlemen of the jury, chosen by the lot to be represent the will of the people at the trial. Are you ready to proceed?
Absolutely. Justice will be done. You mark my words.
I feel obligated to say, I feel especially bruised on days when my hat is just sitting just right.
Oh, well, I wonder if I could adjust my hat for me. And please, be as ruthless as you like.
Oh, so fun fact about that juror to the right.
Yeah.
He pretty much made a mention off of wanting to feel this woman's heels heels in the original sub, but for Scarlet Study they took it as he wanted to feel Van Zeke's heels.
Oh my.
Thieves deserve to die if you ask me, especially gas thieves. I have no sympathy for the man at all.
Look, I said yesterday, I'll say it now. I don't have time for this. I've got my own problems.
Oh, may Lord show us all the light here and lead his flock of righteous verdict again today.
Now, Lord Van Zeeks, what can you tell us?
Hold on, I'm just getting a little more hours of sleep. Hold on, just a minute. This new spot right here.
The prosecution's report, please, for the court. In relation to the theory exposed by the defense yesterday regarding the defendant's tea.
So he does have the results. Okay, I'm awake now. Glass of wine in for the morning. Before the prosecution delivers the black news about the black tea belonging in the black god in the dark.
We get it, you like black.
Pray allow me a moment to savor the liquid a little more, Zagoini here. In fact, I'll defer to the good detective for the reports. He's here too. Here's to you, Inspector.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. As indicated by the defense, we found a bar of soap outside the victim's window in the snow. And there was indeed frozen reddish liquid found in the depression on top of it. Yes, that's the tea! That's what Mr. Natsumi brought to him last night! Well, it brings a yard analyzer, and yes, you're right, it was tea. And there wasn't a trace of strychnine or any other toxic substance in it.
No, Paul.
In other words, the tea the defendant brought with the victim's room is innocent. It's in the clear. What a revelation!
As I suspected.
This makes it quite clear. The defendant, Mr. Natsu...
Objection!
Blah, blah. I was even trying to read my line and he already objected me.
You weren't fast enough.
My learned friend is jumping to conclusions again. A typical Nipponese reaction. What? Yes, it's true. No poison was found in the few drops of the liquid recovered from the soap on the window ledge. But what logic is that? Would you take a drop from things and conclude that the water is in the ocean isn't salty?
My word, the water in the ocean is extremely salty, Counsel!
Exactly. Unfit for drinking, just as the victim's tea on the night in question, as the court already heard. Bitter was the precise word from the lips of Mr. William Shakespeare, whom the prosecution now calls back to the stand.
Very well. I uphold the prosecution's request.
Mr. Shakespeare.
Yes, it sounds like we're going to have another confrontation with our theatrical friend.
Bailiff, show Mr. Shakespeare to the stand.
Cheeky Shakespeare motherfucker.
Mr. William Shakespeare, the victim of this despicable crime. Oh heaven, oh hell, do you command me to remember? Forsooth, 'twas I Shakespeare, did the belly full foul to fullwood given in mine innocence.
Yes, but it was revealed in yesterday's proceedings. The witness is not as innocent as we perhaps have been led to believe.
By using the bar of soap such as this, he was stealing gas from the supply company, yes. Oh, may smile and be a villain! Forsooth, I, Shakespeare, did the roomful sweet fuel given.
That's right, fellow jurors, don't forget, this man is a rotten thief! I haven't forgotten kept it all in the ice cones in the tiny bit secret, did you? You should have owned it up sooner.
Arrest him, I say! Arrest him at once! Let me feel the sting of my tail!
Oh, indeed. By dint vile and cowardly means I have plotted to further my own ends, I confess. Thou wouldest upon my sins, of that I am sure. If you acknowledge your wrongdoing, what exactly are you doing here? Cowards die many times before their deaths. And for a coward such as I, death will be well deserved. But would it give still greater crime, perhaps, if unpunished? For lo, the hairy-faced gentleman of the Far East and Verona did cruelty poison me! What the fuck is this pose? Is he air juggling? Is he air juggling? Is that what's going on right now? But there was no poison in the tea found in your room. The police have already attested to that. What the defense would assert is an inconsistency will quickly be cleared up by the witness's testimony. Is that not so, Mr. Shakespeare? Really, my liege, I would not gladly speak.
Very well. Let the witness testify to explain this inconsistency. Tell the court why the poison apparently entered through your body, though none was found in this tea.
A lot of voices were here now, oh my god.
We just gotta have his happiness before he wakes up.
The Japanese man did not come to the chamber with tea brewed in a pot. 'Twas in my cup alone that the wicked miscreant secretly poured his wicked poison. Will it fender a distraction in our debate? Near did a drop of his own drink pass his lips. When he departed by and by, I did use the tea that remained in his cup to make my coins of ice. Thus, 'tis no surprise that poison cannot be found in the tea I did pour into my molds of soap.
The poison that was slipped into the cup of tea had been poured. The normal way for the poison to be administered, in my experience. What? Otherwise, it would be disastrous if the poisoner were to mix up the cups, for instance. But the poison bottle was found at the scene. Because, quite simply, the Nipponese took the bottle back to his own room. The absence of the vessel containing the poison only becomes problematic when considering suicide. I knew that. By now, it should be perfectly clear. A bar or two of cheap soap is wholly insufficient to wash the deep stains of guilt from the accused's hands.
Sirs, madams, 'tis true that I, Shakespeare, be a common thief of gas. But, listen here, ladies and gentlemen!
Oh, my stick.
Hold on. Yeah, there we go. Perfect mint condition again. Where would I lie? Fairly, I have no cause. I have naught to lose.
Well,
I do declare. Thank you for your testimony, witness. Counsel, proceed with the cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. Alright,
now you listen here, sir.
Alright. Japanese man did come to my chamber with the tea brew.
Hold it!
I understand that you were already acquainted with Mr. Natsumi, is that correct? I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers, salute the sun! Do I know thee, or know thee not? Methinks that's all I can know, thy destiny mingles with mine. You lost me at the first thee. Sound, sir, thou must learn English tongue, afore thou turns thy hand to loitering. I did, but I must have missed the archaic Elizabethan lecture.
Oh.
Verily, and in truth, 'twas a fine flavoured brew, though a drop of poison did bard sweetness, as the thorn doth bar the sweet rose. That, dear friends, be a simple truth.
Listen to Mr. Shamsphere. He seems even better form than he was yesterday.
Either that, or I'm in worse form. That fated evening after I did dine, at Grubbery's, a local alley house of a good report, not did I pass my lips but the tainted black tea. But behold, the poison was not in the tea at first.
Hold it!
Are you saying that you saw the moment when the poison was added to your tea? To have witnessed the act and then drink the tea? Thou dost describe the actions of a fool.
Quite so, quite so.
But no one likes a going thirsty, do they? Sooner would I die quenched and parched, would I have the choice. Actually, on the night of question, the water main was frozen, I believe, wasn't it? Were it not for the tea, in sooth I would rather die than frozen, than quenched or parched. Right, no ice coins means no heating. The witness had more than one brush with death on the night in question, it would seem. Remind the court, Mr. Shakespeare, as to whether the accused drank any of the tea which was brought with him. With the greatest of pleasure, my liege.
Hold it!
Being sick and having to do all these characters is not a great combination. But the teacup Mr. Natsume drank was found completely empty at the scene. And let's not forget the defendant's maximum drink tea while it's not hot. I did gulp the poison cut that night, and my agony did writhe uncontrolled. In fits of pain, I did knock the fellow's cup and its contents spilt as blood from a gaping wound, methinks. Though certainly 'twas after I made the coins of ice from his tea. An upset cup was found at the table and the victim was slumped over. There's no contradiction here.
It's true, there was no tea left in either cup when we found at the scene. But still, something about this statement is troubling me.
Yes, of course, I know what it is! It's Mr. Natsume's wise drink tea while it's hot maximum, isn't it?
Now you're getting it. No, I'm not sure that's it.
Really? Thank you, witness. Now reiterate for the court what occupied you after the guest had left before you drank your tea. Let me go back to that one. Also, pardon a bit here, he did drink it. Do we have any evidence that actually says that you drink tea? Let me check real fast.
Let's go see.
Oh no, wait, yeah, because like the tea would have been drunken already because there was no mark.
Objection!
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You claim that Mr. Natsume didn't drink a drop of tea on the night in question. But that's impossible. How, cop logic? What is this ye clad fiend? The two cups from the scene, one used by the victim and the other by the defendant, have a clear difference between them. One that represents an incontrivable proof. Incontrivable? What difference? Look at the inside of the cup. Just here, there's a clearly visible ring. Yes, a tea ring, commonplace enough. Indeed, such things occur all too readily when one leaves the tea in the cup for a while. And yet, Mr. Natsume's cup has no such ring. Good lord, you're right! It's completely clean! And prithee, sir, what thou makest thou of it?
Exactly what Mr. Natsume told the court yesterday. The Japanese saying he quoted! The drink? Tea! While it's hot! That's right! Yes! The jittery Mr. Natsume was true to his usual self that night and drank his tea in no time. The fuck? But if you claim in your testimony that he didn't touch the drop of his tea, a ring would have developed on the inside of his cup as well. After several hours, the tea was left standing. Oh fuck. Oh god. Oh no. Oh god. In short, Mr. Shakespeare, you clearly lied to the court! Get thee to a nursery!
Objection!
I'm just sitting here.
As a rule, I filled the Hello Chalice up to 7 times during one trial. I feel like a certain other man with a bitter taste will have a very similar theme in the future. Just a prediction, I don't know. You might want to keep that information to yourself. And I'm
How
gonna
is he
do
not
another. Yet on occasion, tedium distracts me and I pour more times than I intend till the bottle is dry. Your drinking habits are fascinating, but irrelevant. On the contrary, they illustrate the fickleness of human memory. To William Shakespeare. Yes, my liege. Though you previously stated that you made the coins from the ice from the leftover tea in the accused cups. Could it be you were perhaps mistaken? Could it be that, yes, perhaps there was some tea remaining in the small teapot left at the scene? A fact that has vanished from your memory until now. Faith, my liege, thou art a magician! For verily, 'tis what thou hast seen with thine own eyes at that night. What? Forsooth, I was mistook. I did plan to use the tea from the Japanese fellow's cup, but now, when I looked, 'twas empty. And thus I did use the dregs from that festered in the teapot, as my liege did suggest. And you just suddenly remember that now that you made the mistake before? Are we supposed to believe that?
Objection!
People's memories are imperfect, my learned friend, which is why we rely on evidence instead. But in any case, it makes no difference. The victim's most recent testimony tells us 2 things of note. Firstly, the poison was used in the victim's teacup only. And secondly, that his sport cup was not the source of the inspired ice coins that had bewitched his court.
I feel like Farouk's voice is turning into a British Mirage.
Oh, like, wait, Mirage?
Monsters Inc.
Oh, okay, alright. The poison makes a fine summary of the facts. Furthermore, that testimony remains valid and full support of the established facts. In other words... Fire! The inconsistency claimed by the defense simply does not exist. No! What are you supposed to mean on this then?
I do declare, it means that there is no issue with the gas thief's testimony.
Apart from the bit about the thieving gas, obviously.
That's one angry old man.
My lords, ladies, and gentlemen of the jury, I do solemnly swear, after I take the dine at the Grubbery's Grub that night, not did pass my lips, but the blackened tea given by the Japanese, who back he stooped to as low as death.
And on what did you dine, sir?
Why, I did partake in my favorites, a broth, as well as be called soup, as a leaf, will it be called salad? as insalubrious as a menu of the establishment where it was served. But you gods have given us all some faults to make us men. Willingly I suffer what punishment to see fit to serve the wicked thief of gas. But I pray ye wise and noble fellows ne'er forget the simple truth. That one thing, and be it another. Wah! Hear us all. Your humble servant Shakespeare doubt entreat you. Punish the Japanese fellow for his sins. My lord!
Oh, okay. If I may speak, my lord. Yes, Mr. Foreman? I believe we have been duped by that rotten defense lawyer.
By me?
Hold on. I just saw it. Hold on. Waiting for OBS to catch back up. Yeah,
God.
Okay, we're back. Alright.
I do declare you may be right. It just caused our jury to.
we had a system error. We know all what there were coins in the ace kept for himself to be won. But this loyal lad says he's been stealing gas. He deserves a douse of poison, eh? He's been leading up to this garden bath. That's what he's been doing.
I really never said anything like that.
But what we just heard from the victim there opens our eyes again. We have reached a decision this time, and we won't be swayed from it.
Sure.
The court acknowledges the position of the jury foreman, and we will duly hear the jury's findings.
What? No, you can't yet.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your decisions now.
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
For now, until we convince you all otherwise.
Get smoked.
I hereby declare the jury to be in one accord.
Oh, happy day! A cucaracha, a cucaracha.
That fucking waist shimmy.
I am not impressed by the one shimmying. It is low tier, average, meh. How is this happening?
My lord, the defense asserts its right to carry out a summation examination. Very well, the court upholds the defense's right.
Typical. My learned Japanese friend is unable to accept the obvious truth, even though he's been able to do this 3 times now in court. I just seem to never learn, do I?
This trial will therefore enter its second summation examination immediately. Jurors, the court calls upon each of you to state on what grounds you find the defendant guilty of the crime of what he's charged. I'm a man of logic, me. I've considered all the evidence, and the defendant must be logically guilty.
I do agree that gas is far too expensive. I can understand why the men want to avoid paying.
The stuff explodes and it can be poison in you. It's absolutely lethal. Gas is.
Gas doesn't come for free. It costs a fortune to live around the city and maintain the pipes.
Truth be told, the tea my wife serves up for me is a little sketchy sometimes.
If nothing else paid past the victim's lips that night, there's no other explanation, is there?
I do feel that perhaps personal opinions about gas and its supply have influenced decisions somewhat. But never mind.
No, you really should mind, Your Honor. Please, help me for the love of God.
The truth is, our counter-argument wasn't unassailable as we hoped. And Mr. Shakespeare was poisoned, there can be no doubt of that.
Then how are we supposed to turn this around?
I think we need to establish the method by which Mr. Shakespeare was actually poisoned. Our only hope is to demonstrate that to the court in controlling whatever the fuck.
That word. But that's surely as impossible at this stage.
If we don't manage it, though, Mr. Natsume will...
Be found guilty.
No delays, Council. Proceed with the summation examination.
Okay.
Get your ass up there, Naruhodo.
Yes. You. Alright. Which are the ones that seemed like the most fishy? I do agree that the gas tubes, but I can understand why the man. Absolutely, full gas it is. Gas is not coming free. It doesn't work in deliverance. In the pipes. Okay, so I think, Juror 3 on seems like the most suspicious, so... Can we please talk about the poison rather than the gas, do you think, sir? Well, if you like, I mean, to be honest, I take the poison over the gas every time. You take the poison? Well, what I mean is, the poison can only poison you if it doesn't explode, does it?
Goodness me, what are you talking about? Set him straight, please, loyal man.
Well, it's certainly true the poison isn't prone to exploding. But I think you'll find poison also can't light or heat up the room. Ah! You're right. I consider that all.
Motherfucker. Young loyal man.
Yes?
You have a good head on your shoulders. You can use someone like you in our company's legal representative.
Well, I wasn't expecting to pick up more business in the middle of trial, that's for sure. Anyway, the point is I hadn't had the best experience with the gas companies in the past. That gave us nothing on that, alright.
Hold it!
Can we please refrain from all this talk of gas?
Lines out of context.
There is an all-out attack underway here, in the case you haven't noticed, against my company's gas. And I'm supposed to sit here and take it, am I? I don't think so.
She's really buzzing now.
All I heard about a wonderful few is explosions and poisonings. What about electricity, What about getting electrocuted? What about that? A little explosion here or there is nothing in comparison.
And the explosion could hardly be described as nothing, madame. Nevertheless, the theft of your gas is deplorable.
My point exactly, but the gas things aren't even the worst of our enemies. We have far more devious from a country content with on a daily basis, you know.
More devious? Who, madame?
Other gas companies, of course.
Other gas companies? Not quite what I was expecting.
We generate gas and deliver it to our customers fair and square.
Indeed. Nobody is questioning that, madame. Outmust is an exemplary gas company.
But there are others, unscrupulous gas companies here in London that don't even have any gas at all.
What? But how, if they don't have gas, how do they go selling it to people?
You wouldn't think of it possible, would you? But they steal our gas, you see, and sell that.
They steal your gas? How on earth could such a thing possible?
Gas companies like ours deliver gas to people's homes via a network of pipes. But these devious reprobants secretly disconnect our pipes and divert our gas to their own rotten pipes. Then they make a contract with the households to supply those pipes. And take money from our precious gas that's rightfully ours, without us even knowing.
Brandon, no, don't worry, that's a bot. I've taken a few countermeasures, for that in the background, which is one of the reasons why the stream took a little bit to get going. We're all good from that now, hopefully.
Yeah.
For now. Also, if it was a bot, they would have been like 5, followers back and forth. And I very much thank you, David, for following. Thank you.
Yeah. They're diverting gas into their own pipes illegally. What a brave form of theft. When they visit customers' houses to collect the money from the meters, we always have to check whether or not one of these devious companies has been up to its tricks.
Bot Jeff, here we go.
That is a pog face if I've ever seen one. Hold on. And let me just...
Yeah.
There you go, chat. There you go. Clip it. But I want to see that in the Discord when I'm done with tonight. There we go.
Aww.
Do you have something to say about that pog juror number 3? Oh, golly. You mean me? I'm terribly sorry. I was just thinking to myself. I really did catch him off guard there. Thinking about what the lady next to you was saying, correct? Well, yes. I just got a little riled about it recently, you see. Go on. An outmost gas company worker visited my house the other day to investigate the pipe work. We need to ask for your cooperation while we carry out a secret check of your property, sir, the fellow said. So I let him in. Do you know what he did? I'm, afraid I have no idea. Please, tell us. He proceeded to take one of my lights off of the wall. Then he grabbed the exploding mouth of the pipe and started blowing into it.
What do you think you're doing, young man? You're giving away company secrets there.
Oh, please, everybody knows, but it was nearly the death of me, I can tell you. What do you mean?
I'll explain if you don't mind. As I said before, these unsculptured other gas companies connect their customers to our pipe network.
Yes, but how does blowing into the pipes come into it?
Obviously, those are gas in the pipes, and it's very low pressure. By blowing air through the pipes, you can make the pressure drop temporarily. If you do that, any light connected to the same pipe will flicker for a moment.
Ah, I see. In other words, if upon blowing into the pipe, the lights adjacent in property are of no contract with your company flicker, you can know that these devious scoundrels have been meddling with your pipes.
Exactly, my lord. That's it in a nutshell.
I wonder. I can't possibly think of how that's going to come into this whatsoever. I don't know, guys. It's a mystery.
It's the reason why we have a team of workers going around the neighborhood to investigate which lights flicker.
The trouble is, the particular worker that came by my house didn't know the strength of his own breath. He blew down the pipe with all his might, maybe killed some pigs in the process, I don't know. And you can see what happened, can't you? Well, if he blew hard, then... Wait, you mean...
There
we go. That's right, the lights didn't just flicker, they went out, along with my stove. Gas started pouring into the house. What a disaster.
The gas supplies must have been interrupted briefly because the man blew too hard. So the flames went out.
I'm afraid I yelled at the fellow. Are you trying to kill us all? I said. So by disconnecting a lamp and blowing into the exploded pipe, it's possible to extinguish lamps and stoves connected to the same network of pipes. And when the gas starts flowing again, it just silently seeps into the room.
Mr. Naruhodo, I think perhaps...
Yes, I'm almost certain that the clue, that's what we've been hoping for. Juror number 3, the defense requests that you amend your statement to include that information. Oh, well, if you like, I don't mind.
Well, I do! That's our company's secret method of identifying the rogues that try to diddle us!
Like I said, madame, it's widely known already. Well, then, juror number 3, you will amend your testimony accordingly. Yes, my lord. Although, I'm not really sure what the point of all this is. Alright, so what's it now? Blow too hard in the gas pipe and you'll extinguish everything in the house and then you're in real trouble. I think I need to press this lady's statement, because these 3 are all about the gas in the pipe, so...
This isn't the time or place to be discussing the price of gas, madame!
But really, think of the injustice. Air is gas, air is free. Why should Audemars get gas cost money? If I may blow up my blood boil, I could seriously become more ruthless than ever.
This isn't the time or place to be ruthless either.
If I might interject here.
Yes, madame?
Since my fellow jurors take an issue on the price of our company charges for gas. But it's precisely because thieves like this man his cost goes up. Oh, what a beastly man. That unkempt mustache, those hunched shoulders, poisoning teeth, and stealing gas. Utterly unforgivable.
No, Mr. Natsume isn't the one who's stealing gas! I'll thank you not for adding on to more crimes!
Mr. Natsume hasn't been poisoning tea either. Well, anyway, I'm quite made up my mind. It's maybe of the price of the gas.
This lady.
That didn't help us at all. Oh my god.
What is the juror saying in this testimony?
Okay. I do agree that the gas tubes are understand why blow too hard in the gas pipe and you extinguish everything in the house and then you're in real trouble. Gas isn't kept for free, it's a fortune to deliver around the thing and see the pipe. Wait, hold on. Did you blow I do agree. Can I see? Oh! Oh god! That was very loud! Oh god! Ben? Yeah. I do agree that gas is far too expensive. I do quite understand what the man wants to avoid paying.
What are we trying to find here?
Yeah, that's all I'm trying to figure out on this one. Trying to just think of any kind of connection. Because, like, I don't think these contradict each other. Let's just get... Wait, no.
But,
I think
to lean to the resurrection.
Maybe
right.
pit these two together?
Objection!
Damn it!
Aggressive. So, what happens if you blow into the gas pipes?
Then all of it goes out at that point.
But how do you blow gas in?
By opening the pipe?
With your
mouth? Oh!
Objection!
Ah, okay, alright. First off, let me rewind time.
I want my points back.
Yeah, it's, I don't know how long this case is gonna be just for that.
It's literally you're blowing.
Juror number 6, did you hear what juror number 3 just said? But yes, of course, I heard them mumbling about something or other. There is another explanation here, I believe. Something besides Mr. Natsume's tea did, in manner of speaking, pass through the victim's lips on the night in question. What? What explanation? I wonder, did the police check the mouth of the gas pipe feeding into the wall light at the scene to see if there were any traces of poison there? I was curious to see what your floundering would result in this time, but the mouth of a gas pipe? Scotland Yard has enough to do without exploring such irrelevance. Hold it! Oh, it's him. What a piece of work is a man! What are you trying to say, Mr. Shakespeare? What thou speakest thou, prater, is not strange and strange. That is what I say to thee, sir! I thought I'd been quite clear, but let me put it another way. The strychnine could have passed through the mouth of the gas pipe that feeds into the wall lamp in your room. And that is how the poison came to enter your body! Good lord!
Oh dear.
And are they tasty then, gas pipes? Is that what he's saying?
Was it the gentleman suggesting that the poor man was so desperately hungry, he tried to fill his belly with gas? Perhaps no actress perform a kiss scene with him.
For shame, madam, speaking thy fancy. I assure you, I am not such a buffoon to have kissed pipes!
Objection!
This is no summation examination. This is a farce. The prosecution will not stand for any more of my learned Nepalese friend's conjecture. Let me pour another one. To begin with, the lamp in the victim's room is high on the wall. In order to have placed his lips on the light that he feeds it, he would have to be a contortionist. These are empty assertions. Blah! There is no possible proof that the man did as you say. It's true, I have no proof that Mr. Shakespeare put his lips on the pipe. However, I can say with some certainty that on multiple occasions, Mr. Shakespeare has been doing something in front of the lamp on his wall.
Blam.
And I have evidence to prove it! Alright, you've got my attention, lad. I like to see let's see how you can be so sure of yourself. So would I. Let's see this evidence then. Now that I've got the jury's ear, I need to make this opportunity count. This is the proof that time and time again Mr. Shakespeare has stood in front of his lamp gas. Where is this? Yeah, there we go.
Take that!
Look at this photograph.
What the? These are, wait, what are these called? Yes, skin prints that were found at the scene. Skin prints, counsel? I've never heard of such things. The Justice Minister is currently asserting whether or not to permit fingerprints as evidence in the court, however.
My lord, this is an excellent news forensic technique developed by Detective Mr. Herlock Sholmes. It reveals all the places that Mr. Shakespeare touched in his room.
I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it's like black magic, isn't it? Well, if anyone could invent something like this, it's the great Sholmes fellow, that's for sure.
I agree. This month's edition of Engineering Thumb was quite fascinating.
Okay, I'm gonna be real, this kind of contradicts case 5 of the first game at that point.
Keep going.
We found skin prints in many places that you would expect. On the table, on the costumes. However, Mr. Shakespeare also has been touching the very unexpected places in his room. For example, here. Around the hanging picture there, indeed, multiple handprints appear to be visible.
Well, I wonder, could he have been appreciating the artwork, perhaps?
At first, my colleagues and I thought the same. However, imagine standing with your hands where those prints are, and you would find yourself just directly in front of...
I don't believe it. The gas lamp!
Though the reason why isn't immediately obvious, it's clear that Mr. Shakespeare has regularly been standing with his hands to the wall in front of that lamp. Right, what have you been up to, you nut? I'd asked the court to recall juror number 4's earlier statement.
Me? What did I say?
You said that blowing into the gas pipe would make the lights of the entire building flicker. And now you'll recall juror number 3's statement. What? Me now? When the gas worker who visited the home blew with too much force into the pipe, it caused all the lights in the stove to go out and the gas started leaking into the room. Obviously, this incident was an accident. However, the simple fact is... If Mr. Shakespeare would have blown hard into the gas pipe here in the room, he would have extinguished every other light and gas stove in the building as well. Crikey!
Are you suggesting that this man purposely caused gas to...
Pull another one out. Yeah. Whilst I acknowledge the prosecution is required to remain silent during summation examination, I must toast to my learned friend's utter disregard for the letter of the law.
What is the meaning of this, Lord Van Zieks?
This curious photograph, or whatever it is, presented by the defense, the so-called skin prints. Clearly, that cannot be accepted as any form of usable evidence in this case.
But it's an exciting new forensic technique developed by the great detective.
It's nothing! A mere toy developed by an amateur sleuth with way too much time on his hands.
Certainly, even research of this nature by the esteemed Mr. Sholmes cannot be recognized by this court as formal evidence.
But...
Hold it. Please, my lord, if I may.
Miss Usato?
It was not the defense's intention to submit the skin prints as formal evidence. We merely wish to present the results of the great detective's investigation of the scene, as a tool by which to explain a possibility to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. And, if the trial were to come to an end now, we shall never learn the truth behind these mysterious handprints that everyone has now seen. I don't believe we can allow this to happen. I'm sure the jurors would agree.
You're right. Whether those strange handprints are a significant clue or not, it's down to us to decide. Juror number 3!
Oh yes, I do declare the great detective investigation results sounds absolutely fascinating. And I want to hear what that shady act fellow has to say with those shady handprints. PogChamp.
Woo!
What's the matter with you two? That was foolhardy!
Well, I did say it, didn't I? And I don't like to break a promise.
No, wait! You heard his lordship, it's not a drinking...
Woo!
Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo.
That is a change that I really like with the jury system, is that you only need to get one contradiction now, at this point, compared to, like, the multiple that you need to do last time, kind of deal. I appreciate that a lot more.
It's just one more juror needs to change his or her mind. Mr. Natsumi's trial will have to continue.
Thank you, Mrs. Sato. I couldn't have done it without you.
Oh no, it was you who identified the clues after all. This is very much your success.
Get fucked.
Why, Mr. Shakespeare? You seem to be losing your composure.
Just one more juror, Mr. Naruhodo. You can do it!
Okay, maybe I spoke too soon on that one. Very well, continue, Consul. At least it's like multiple jurors and not just like the 2 that you convinced last time, kind of deal. Alright, so, go back to juror number 1.
Hold it!
All the evidence, you say? That's right, and there's no room for doubt. It's all pointing to that Japanese man with the big mustache, says the Englishman with the bigger mustache. But the defense just demonstrated another possible explanation for the events on the night in question. What do you make of that? What, your so-called skin prints?
It's an excellent new forensic investigation technique, developed by the great detective himself.
And the numerous handprints on the wall clearly are out of the ordinary. And if Mr. Shakespeare had indeed put his mouth to the gas pipe in the night in question, it can't be denied there's a possibility that's where the poison was. Well, yes, I wouldn't deny it's playing on my mind. But the prosecution rightly says we pay no heed to unacceptable forms of evidence. And besides, yes? Even if the fellow had been up to some mischief with a
gas pipe dozens of times before. It doesn't mean he got up and did some shenanigans on the night in question, does it? Oh. If you can't make your case better than that, then I'm afraid I can't change my stance.
You do make a very valid point, sir.
What? That's true. Perhaps I was a little hasty. Wait! Look, you got a chance here, haven't you? So it's time you prove your theory. You and your Japanese cohorts, that is. Just leave our nationality out of this, please. Why is everybody in here such a racist all the time?
It's history, Naruhodo, unfortunately. If we can't sustain our position, I'm afraid the jury can change their minds before the mayor will change them back.
What can I do? Is there any proof I can give here? Can I show Mr. Shakespeare really did blow into the gas pipes the night in question? I thought it would be.
At least it doesn't get you a strike. I changed my mind. I do. Wait, hold up.
Man, it's a lot of dialogue. Good lord.
Okay.
Okay, I can set edit. I have some. Okay, hold on. Check the court record. Is there anything?
So we have to prove that he did blow in the gas pipes that night.
Okay, I don't know if we have necessarily evidence to prove that, though.
So?
Wait, this is one of those cases you have to do from memory? What do you mean by that? Like...
Well, you can either present evidence or someone's testimony.
Yeah, I think testimony we gotta go by. No, in truth, I don't have evidence to support my theory. However, there is a witness testimony that sustains it. What's that testimony? This is incredible. Whose testimony? Yes, it's all connected. Everything is linked. A person whose testimony reveals about the Gyarados fights that night. Namely... okay.
Who was at the scene with the gas in the room?
Okay. That would have to be... this guy.
Take that!
Well, Mr. Ford... damn it!
Yes, he was waiting outside the room under Mr. Shakespeare. Oh dear.
Hold it!
Okay, so if he did blow into the gas in the room, someone had to be in the room.
Oh, yeah. Well, it would have to... No, okay, I think I know what it is now. I think it would be Gyarados because of like the flickering of the lights and stuff like that, kind of deal, or or Natsume, one of the two.
Take that!
No, not that one. Okay. Then Natsume would have to. Yeah.
Take that!
There we go.
Obviously, I'm talking about the defendant, Mr. Soseki Natsume himself!
The defendant?
At the very beginning of the proceedings here in court yesterday, Mr. Natsume said the following. On the night of question, the gas of the defendant's room went out. So I asked the court, was that a mere coincidence or not? Good golly!
So that Shakespeare fellow blew the air into the pipes to make the man's stove go out on the purpose? Now hold your horses there. Why would he do that?
Mr. Foreman!
What is it, man?
We cannot allow judgment to be passed while doubt remains. It's true that I don't have conclusive evidence yet, however, you must surely agree, there is more to this case than meets the eye.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Like I said on the outset, I'm a man of logic, first and foremost.
Fine.
Woo! That's 4 jurors leaning to not guilty, my lord. We've overturned the decision. Therefore, the defense calls for the trial to continue.
God fucking damn it.
As the defense has rightfully indicated, the summation examination has concluded with majority of jurors altering their decisions. 2 jury members now called guilty, 4 called not guilty. Therefore, the jury's opinion is conflicted, and in accordance to the law of this land, I hereby order the continuation of this trial. Mr. William Shakespeare!
My lord, how thy humble Shakespeare serve thee.
What say you responsible to the various revelations made during the summation examination?
So God mend me, I do solemnly swear. I recall aught of earlier, the lamp or the pipe.
But your handprints made a tiny mess all over the wall there. How do you explain that, huh?
Yeet. I am done with this shit. The dignity of this great courtroom has sullied enough already, jury number 5.
Who, me?
As I went to some pains to point out already, a print from a self-proof best detective's toy has no place in a British court of law. As such, whether or not this man indeed stand before the gas lamps or his hand against the wall remains at this time unestablished conjecture. Would you all remember that first?
Is it really considered free wine if it just bashed on someone's head?
Yeah, I mean, it means as much as like the trash you find on the street kind of deal. But the prosecution must conclude that there is an extremely simple to verify. Just order the mouth of the gas pipes feeding into the lamp of Mr. Shakespeare's room to be examined. If there are any traces of poison there, what appears to be extremely simple is my Nipponese friend's mind. You recall that in order to check the presence of poison for the tea, some remnants of tea were required. Yes. Therefore, it shouldn't be beyond your wit to imagine that even if poison were found to have been spread on the pipe, it would have completely evaporated by now, making any analysis impossible. I didn't think about that.
In any case, counsel, I failed to see what could possibly have motivated the man to do as you described. Why on earth would this fellow have wanted to blow air into the gas pipe work where he lived?
There's only one possibility I can think of, and that is to use the leaking gas to commit murder!
Murder!
Order! Order! Counsel! Precisely whose life do you propose this man was blowing to end?
The answer couldn't be simpler. Now we've unraveled the mystery this far. Mr. Shakespeare wanted to end the life of... I think it's Natsume, but I just want to make sure.
Give me a second.
Cause if it's not Natsume, it would be Garadab. Okay, there we go.
Just kill the landlord for
Well, I mean, considering that he died in the room and stuff like that, you know, maybe it's connected or some kind of way like that, you know. If a gas lamp were to go out, it would be noticed immediately, of course. But a gas stove, on the other hand, would be silently extinguished by the killer without anyone noticing. I live around these parts myself, so I know what it's like. I can tell you, trying to sleep without the stove lit is pretty much suicide. You freeze to death in no time! Mr. Garadad, the landlord, has a large fireplace in his part of his residence on the top floor. In other words, it wasn't the landlord, but a fellow lodger whose life Mr. Shakespeare was trying to end. Outrageous! I'm talking, of course, about the defendant! Mr. Natsume isn't the villain of this case. He's the victim of this man trying to commit murder! Good gracious!
Objection!
The accused is actually the aggrieved? Interesting. However, the fundamental facts of the case remain unchanged. Namely, that the accused is the aggressor here. What? How could you still claim that? Let us indulge in your fantasies for a moment and assume that there is indeed poison on the mouth of the gas pipe. The question then arises is who put it there? Who did put it there? The only logical conclusion that the person responsible was aware of this man's trickery of the gas supply and his intent to kill. Yes, that would indeed seem logical. If the assailant were unaware, how would he or she have known to lace the end of the gas pipe with poison? Now we must ask, how could anyone have known of Mr. Shakespeare's murderous designs?
You mean to suggest?
Naturally, the sole possible answer to that question couldn't be more obvious. Only the man whose life was being threatened could possibly have known. What? In other words, the person who put the poison on the gas pipe in what was a clear retaliatory attack can only have been the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Ah! Whatever Mr. William Shakespeare may or may not have contrived to do, he was nevertheless the victim of a potentially lethal poison attack. And the only person who had possibly perpetrated the attack is the accused, Mr. Natsume. The defense counsel's theorizing has failed to avert suspicion from the accused. Far from it. In fact, now that a clear motive for poisoning has been successfully established, that suspicion is greater than ever. Would you not agree, my Nipponese friend?
Down.
How did he manage to turn that around on me so rapidly?
Mr. Naruhodo, you must respond. Otherwise, the members of the jury may as well change their lean against us again. And this may be our last chance to gain the advantage.
What advantage?
Well, it would seem that somebody put poison on the gas pipes in Mr. Shakespeare's room. So we must name the person now and the absolute Mr. Natsume of guilt.
You mean name the true culprit?
I know it might sound impossible, but we failed to do that. I have no doubt that Mr. Natsume's fate will be sealed once and for all.
Oh, I think I might know. As it happens, one possible culprit does come to mind. The evidence, the poison. It's all a particular poison now. I think I might have put this together if it does. If that's what it is, holy shit! The prosecution calls for the jury to consider their leanings again. I trust you'll make the correct choice this time, Mr. Foreman. What? Oh, don't worry. We know exactly what...
Now hold that thought.
If this is right, oh my god. There's one other person who I can believe to be involved in this. The true culprit of this crime. The true culprit? A term found in my second-rate novel involving a third-rate detective, my Nipponese friend. But why not? This farce has gone on long enough already. I see no reason to cut ties short of this disappointing climax. Thank you. Tell us, my Nipponese friend, what is your latest theory? Who is the so-called true culprit of this crime? Okay. I'm gonna go for a long shot on this one, just because of the poison, and we know of like, the people involved kind of deal. I wouldn't be surprised if this one's wrong, but...
Take that!
Okay, I was big braining too close to this. Wait, the name of the person responsible for the poison that inflicted Mr. Shakespeare, I believe, Miss Olive Green. Oh my god, was that? Was I? Yeah, I figured with the poison and stuff like that, that it was like, wait a minute. Yeah. The music didn't stop, so I was like, wait, is that it? Miss Olive Green, Miss Olive Green. I do feel as though I've heard that name in recent past, counsel, but I do not recall where. Miss Olive Green, the woman from 6 days ago.
I've been impaled.
The victim of the recent case on Briar Road. An incident for which Mr. Natsume was arrested, I hasten to add. Oh, of course, yes, Miss Green! She left the comatose for 3 days, I believe, but I hear she regained consciousness 2 days ago. And I hardly need to remind the court that Mr. Shakespeare's poisoning took place 3 days ago. Given that the woman was lying comatose in the hospital bed, she appears to be rather fine alibi. True, on the night of the incident occurred, Miss Green was in the hospital, unconscious. So on the face of it, it would seem that she couldn't possibly be responsible, but still. My colleagues and I visited Miss Green in the hospital yesterday, and we found her in possession of a bottle of poison. Good gracious, she had poison! And there is no other fact that links Miss Green to this case as well. The defense requests that she be brought to the witness stand in order to explain the details to the court. Tell me, Mr. Shakespeare. My lord, pray, what be thy bidding? Are you acquainted with Miss Green? No, never heard of her. Judging by the... Oh, sorry.
Judging by the look on Mr. Shakespeare's face, I think perhaps he genuinely doesn't know her. At least, not by name.
As the voice of Her Majesty prosecution here, I adhere to my word. We will see my learned Nipponese friend's farce through to its conclusion. I appreciate that! The prosecution requests a court short recess, my lord, in order to subpoena the witness and bring her here. Yes, Miss Olive Green! Indeed, my lord. 1 hour should be sufficient. Very well. I grant the request. Excellent, I hope. The defense has made the most extraordinary accusation, I must say. But at the present time, I feel the prosecution's argument remains largely uncontested. Accordingly, I'm afraid the defendant and his culpability remains the sole subject of the court's attention. Thank you, counsels. We reconvene in 1 hour. Court is adjourned. Whew.
Break.
Yeah.
Congrats, your big brain actually big brained.
Mm-hmm. Ugh.
Ugh, okay, taking a big old swig of water right now.
Yeah.
Alright.
If you're lucky, Jason might come in soon too.
Shit, I hope Jason comes in. Voicing all of these characters is kind of hard right now.
Please, I'm dying.
Joyful, jubilant, jumping jacks!
Oh, Mr. Natsume, I am so pleased for you.
Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire and non-locum student judicial assistant Miss Mikotova Esquires. Now, finally, at long last, there can be proof. Proof that I'm innocent and proof that my tea is innocent. Ah, good morning, my dear fellows. Ah, Herlock Shelves! May you drink my tea, happy tea and fall forever silent. I thought your tea was innocent.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you came. How wonderful.
Please, save your diversion. I know what you all are thinking. Good morning, he says, when it's nearly time for luncheon. Your scorn is written clearly across your face. Nobody said or thought anything of the sort. The truth is, I was determined that today would be the day. As sleep seduced me last night, I thought, tomorrow, for once, I shall not oversleep. I will rise early and be present to court my support of my companions. Such spirited determination has a beauty of all of its own, does it not?
Oh, yes.
And then I began to muse on the subject. Why do people oversleep, I inquired? Why, time after time, do they make the same foolish blunder? And the answer came to me at once, so delightfully simple. People oversleep because they sleep. Well, is not that the astute insight onto the matter?
Yes.
Upon which realization, I attempted an experiment. I didn't sleep a wink last night. And the results? By first light, I was exhausted and began to assailed by the fits of drowsiness. Shocking. And so the conclusion of last night's experiment is this. A good night's sleep is quite simply essential. Yes, I think most of us probably knew that already.
Tell that to college students.
Yeah. What others propose, I prove by experimentation. That, my dear fellow, is the scientific method. Ah yes, one more thing. Do you remember this? Yes, of course, it was the poison that Miss Green was about to drink at the hospital yesterday. Oh, you didn't manage to. It was a laborious task, as the bottle was near empty. Oh, excuse me. But such inconveniences do not hinder Sholmes. I managed to confirm that it contained citronane. So I was right. Perhaps, though of course circumstantial evidence does not prove Miss Green's guilt. I shall leave the bottle in your care now, but licking the inside of the neck is not recommended.
No.
Tell that to Byakuya. Could I have a word? Okay. Gregson, how good of you to come. Forget it. Excuse me.
I'm gonna head out.
Wait a minute, Inspector!
Ah.
I, don't wish to make a nuisance of myself. From the look on your face, I'd say it's someone else who is making a nuisance of himself. My dear Inspector, please speak freely. Pretend I'm not here. Believe me, if I could do that, life would be a whole lot simpler for me.
Do you have the results, Mr. Inspector, on the investigation of Chancellor's room?
Not yet. Shouldn't be long now, though. No, I'm here to talk about something else. The dead convict, actually. Oh, you mean the man from the newspaper article we discovered yesterday in Mr. Shakespeare's room?
A man by the name of, yes, Selden.
I went through the archives of the yard and dug out the fellow's file. There's something in there that, well, caught my eye.
Something caught your eye. What, Inspector? What?
I've copied the relevant parts for you so you can read it for yourselves. Thank you!
These documents.
Alright, let's take a look at that real fast. 18 burglaries, 6 died of natural cause, involving poison found once witnessed only by his cellmate. He steamed 1,000 pounds worth of loot. Discovered Magistrate prison announced his death. Inflicting murder and burglary in central natural condition. At suffering fever near the end of October, alerted by the shouts of his fellow cellmate medical staff arrived. They find him already dead, but the capital punishment could be carried out. Alright.
Includes the details in which were in the newspaper cutting we found in Mr. Shamsier's room. I'll rearrange everything in the court record so we don't duplicate information.
Why are you giving us a copy of this important file, though?
Well, you're the only ones who turned up a clue in the first place, aren't you? I'm just making sure things get handled in proper fashion.
Oh, Scotland Yard workings are so wonderful.
Indeed, my dear fellows, and the inspector here is a shining diamond on its crown.
A shining diamond in the rough, maybe. Look, I don't want to be old into a lawyer, that's all.
See you in a few months where I screw you
Yeah,
over.
where we take your job.
Counsel for the defense and the defendant! Court proceedings are about to resume. Make your way to the courtroom at once!
Well, I shall leave you then. I'll be listening with your interest from the public gallery, and not nodding off at all. Certainly not. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. I'm rather tired of seeing Mr. Mustache flooding in tears personally, so the best of luck to you. Look, Esquire! Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! Yes, Mr. Natsume? It's time, isn't it? Yes, this is it. Mr. Algreed and Mr. William Shakespeare. This is gonna be a final battle. I don't really have say Seki-san until I expose the whole truth about everything what's going on. That's all coming to a head now. You can do it, Ryunosuke. You have to.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again now. Before the recess, we had a most startling accusation from the defense. Namely, the victim of this case we had heard only a few days ago is the perpetrator of this incident. A reckless, rash, and breaching justice charge with wrongdoing in my opinion, my lord. However, the prosecution has tried to extend every courtesy to this amateur newcomer from the dubious eastern shores. Thank you for that backhanded consideration. A rather cold assessment from the Honorable British Prosecutor, I must say. So, Lord Van Zieks, is the new witness present and ready to take the stand?
Ready and waiting. This is an antechamber, my lord.
Very well. Bailiff, bring the witness in.
Alright.
Fading in the middle of court? Okay. Witness.
Multitasking.
State your names and occupations to the court, please. William Shakespeare, my liege. For mine occupation, I can only say that I have a tragic victim to the pitied.
Currently unemployed, in other words.
I'm Olive Green. I'm a fledgling artist. Well, no. Not a fledgling, really. A hopeless failure who's too weak-spirited that she has no talent, I suppose.
Also currently unemployed, in other words.
Bruh.
What a contrary.
Mr. Shakespeare!
My lord, I am thy humble servant.
I'm afraid that you are no longer merely a victim in this affair. The possibility has been raised that you are in fact the assailant intending on taking the life of your fellow lodger. That part you have played in this whole business will be thoroughly scrutinized, I assure you.
I would not ask my word, lord.
And Miss Green?
Yes.
You are aware of the reason you've been summoned to this courtroom today, I presume.
Yes, the officer did explain. He said I poisoned this ridiculous buffoon.
And do you accept the charge, Miss Green?
I don't know anything about any poisoning. And I don't know anything about this man.
Come, lady. Die to live. Verily, I know not thy prickly pigmented personage.
Very well, let us proceed with the matter at hand. That being the assertion of whether or not Miss Green has any involvement in this affair.
It's all very strange indeed. Why would you suspect me? I barely ever got to the East End anyway. It just happened to pass by the neighbor 6 months ago. That's all. On the night this man was poisoned, I was still in the hospital fighting for my life.
Yes, having unfortunately been caught up in the incident on the street outside the Garrett household. An incident that rendered you unconscious for 3 days.
Why you must keep showing my dead back? I was struck in the middle of the back of the knife, threw out the bullet my own, and now I'm under suspicion. What other eventual things might be suspected of? It's all very disturbing.
Your energies may not have been spent worrying on random knife attacks, I feel, Miss Green. At this point in time, all that appears to connect you to Mr. Shakespeare's lodgings on Briar Road incident 6 days ago. That's why. We know it would be likely for you to testify formally now about what exactly happened.
Oh no. The incident 6 days ago, you mean you want me to relive that awful incident?
Unfortunately, yes. Please tell the court what happened that day. And of course, we will be interested in to hear you about your movements that day too, Mr. Shakespeare.
But what happened 6 days ago has nothing to do with me being poisoned.
Let us proceed then. The witness will present their formal testimony to the court on the subject of the incident that took place on Briar Road the evening of the 16th of February.
It was 6 days ago, about 5 p.m. I was walking on the road snow when I suddenly was stabbed in the back. Coincidentally, it happens to be outside of the house where the man in this case will have their lodging.
I was at the tavern on the eve of thou speakest, for I have been besoked by supper.
It was the first time I'd been to this area. I had a little matter to attend to. Anyway, I admit I was straight to the hospital, so I knew nothing about all this business.
Yes, a second incident inside of a week, I believe to be aptly described as the haunted lodgings. Only one can presume this is the most unfortunate coincidence.
Meanwhile, you say you were not in your room, Mr. Shakespeare. 'Twas following morn did I awaken, as I leaned to dire events. Mary, what commotion did the officers of the law make on the floor above mine?
When Saseki-san was arrested for suspicion of attempted murder.
I suspected there's nothing connecting these two witnesses but happenstance.
It's true, it does seem that they're unrelated at first glance, but I'm not so sure. There's something lurking in the shadows here. I feel certain of it. And this is my only chance to expose it. Counsel, you may cross-examine the witness if you wish. Yes, my lord. Okay.
Da-da-da.
Hold it!
What little matter, Miss Green? Please elaborate.
It was nothing really. It's not worth mentioning.
If you remember, you mentioned it to yesterday at the hospital.
Ah.
It was related to the card you were holding. And I already know the evidence we have to use to connect them. From memory, I believe the card contained a note that read, I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross.
What does that matter? It has nothing to do with Duncan.
Excuse me.
Mr. Shakespeare, do you have something to share with the court? To be or not to be? That is the question. Ah, pray forgive me. The great bard's words springeth from within the near thought. Don't tell me it's because you're possessed by a Shakespeare spirit, right? Hearing Miss Green's words a moment ago, you seem to think of something. Something of relevance, perhaps? Well, nay, sire, 'twas nothing at all. Presumably, you know the name, though. Mr. Duncan Ross, I mean. After all, you were both lodgers in the same house. It would be worse so, but say nately. Lodging may be a lonely occupation, sire, but my fellow lodgings were rarely known to me. So you haven't heard of him, even though he passed away in the room one floor above yours? Miss Green?
My lord, have I done something wrong?
The card was mentioned before, containing the note. Do you have it upon your person?
I do, yes, but I don't need it anymore. In fact, I should throw it away, really.
Before you dispose of it, the court will take it in as evidence, please. Of course, that's what linked Mr. Shakespeare and Miss Green. It's Duncan Ross! Now continue with your testimony, Miss Green.
How about we check that little letter right now?
Yeah. The envelope has been ripped open rather carelessly, hasn't it? Miss Green strikes me as the type to open correspondence more neatly than that.
What is it?
The way the envelope is torn, I'm almost certain I've seen that shape somewhere else.
Oh, you don't mean... You're thinking the same piece of evidence, Mr. Naruhodo.
Exactly, that's it. Try and match them up.
They go together perfectly. This torn off end of the envelope clearly belongs to this card.
In the area I had merited. So I suppose so. Okay, the thing is of like I'm trying to figure out, do we present now or
It depends. What was Shakespeare doing?
Well, I was at the tavern on the eve of thou speaks, for I had spoke my supper.
Hold it!
A tavern, you say? Which one? 'Twas the Slug and Salad where I tarry. 'Tis a jewel in the East End. And a little unexpected, I feel. What do you mean, Lord Van Zeeks? The Slug and Salad usually offers fine dining for the locally, at least. Not an establishment you expect to be patronized by a man with not even a crumb of bread in his room.
No?
Oh shit.
It's true. The menu lists premium crust-up breads and glasses of water. In a different level of cloudness.
Is there any steak in here?
I would have expected grubberies in the local vicinity to be more appropriate for your means. Watery
soup mushy peas, or rather, soupy water and pea like mush. All equally appetizing. I just want to try some water from a different pot for once. What's wrong with that? How different can water really be?
Or perhaps there's a more plausible explanation. A specific reason why you had to go to that particular establishment.
Agreed. The fact on that day of all days he dined at the place he wouldn't normally does stand out. Mr. Shakespeare's actions that day and 6 days ago were slightly suspicious. I wonder if we have some evidence to explain those actions. Mr. Shakespeare! Yes, sire? On the day in question, is it not the case that you visited the Slug and Salad, a place you normally don't patronize, for a particular reason? I don't know what you're talking about. Pray, if thou hast some purpose, speak it! Very well, I present to the court with evidence! Evidence that explains why you went to the Slug Salad that day, mainly... Okay, it's gotta be the note at this point.
Take that!
I believe this torn-off envelope reveals the answer, because it fits together perfectly with the envelope of the card that was submitted into evidence earlier. Good lord, Miss Green's card, you mean? That's right, my lord. It reads, I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross. Come to the Slug and Salad on Briar Road at 5 p.m. on the 17th. Don't tell anyone else about the letter or the meeting. This is a matter of utmost importance. Mr. Shakespeare, your actions on the afternoon of Miss Green's stabbing are exactly as described on the note. Personally, I find it hard to believe that's coincidence.
Smuggerodo.
Don't you, Mr. Shakespeare? Well...
Excuse me, can I say something?
Yes, Miss Green?
That card was delivered to me. It doesn't have anything to do with this odd man, does it?
Oh, well, you think so, yes, but it's hard to believe. It's merely...
My lord, may I?
May you what, Miss Green?
I'd like to make something very clear about that card.
Very well, then. You may amend your testimony to include details about the particular note.
This note was delivered to me to my address. It has nothing to do with the odd man next to me.
I think you said you received it the day before the incident, didn't you?
Yes, that's right.
There appears to be no indication of the sender's name nor address on the envelope.
It was in my letterbox. That's all I know, I'm afraid. I had no idea who sent it.
I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross. Who is Duncan Ross, please?
A friend of mine. He attended the same art school as I do. He passed away in a tragic accident months ago now, though. I wasn't sure what to make of that note, to be honest. But in the end, I decided to go.
So you found out what information was?
Of course I didn't. You're not thinking straight.
While it's on her way there, she was stabbed in the back. As my learned friend hopefully remembers. Yes, of course. She never made it to the meeting.
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, you pursue Shakespeare wonderfully there.
Worked out well, hasn't it? We have a new clue at last. Alright, now I need to pull off a really insightful objection somewhere.
Well, as you managed to expose this promising new angle, I wonder if you perhaps should try to develop that?
Yes, of course! And yelling out objections isn't necessarily the best way to do that, I suppose. Okay, it was 6 days ago. Instantly.
So she.
I was at the tavern, which it was the first time I've been in that area. I will delivered to me my address. It has nothing to do with the odd man.
Yet.
Yeah, but I would think the torn off envelope shows that it would absolutely have something to do with you at that point. Like, why would he have it?
Objection!
Yep. The day before the incident, exactly 1 week ago now, this note was delivered to your address. And upon carrying out the instructions in the note, you found yourself in the hospital.
Yes, I did. It's terrible, everything that happened to me.
Yes, it is terrible. If it's all true, that is.
What do you mean?
Miss Green, have a look at this, please. It's a torn off end of the envelope.
Oh, is it?
Excuse me. And it happens to fit perfectly with the envelope of the note you received.
Where did you find that?
In Mr. Shakespeare's room. In my room? Mr. Shakespeare? Do you perhaps remember this note from somewhere? Well... Your actions that afternoon follow the instructions of the note to the letter. Come to the Slug and Salad on Briar Road at 5 p.m. on the 17th. And that's exactly where you went. Let me ask you again, Mr. Shakespeare. You already knew about this note, didn't you? Lord Van Siegs, help me the fuck out! And you, Miss
I'm
Green.
drinking wine.
What did I do?
As this torn off end of the envelope proves, the note was originally in Mr. Shakespeare's room. So how is it that it came into your possession?
I don't have the first idea. I'm just a fledgling artist after all.
There is only one explanation! You broke into Mr. Shakespeare's room and stole it! My line art is messy. Hold on.
I stare really hard at the lineup. Yeah, hey, bye, hi!
Oh, thank God, I'm relieved. Finally.
I remember when I said I was gonna show up late? I wasn't lying.
Yeah, the late? Yeah, alright.
Right, you're drawing on the sketch layer.
I wasn't lying. Okay, hang on. You did what? You did what? Sorry, thou hast what? You broke. I mean, thou were in my room. What on earth do you want with me? Hi, everybody.
Thank God, because
It was seemed.
Because Jason, like, I've been feeling a little under the weather today, so I've had to do like all the male voices today, and I can feel my throat burning on the inside.
I'm sorry. I was over at a friend's house, and we were cooking.
Ah, okay.
It would seem that both witnesses need to testify again.
Miss Green.
Yes.
While you have the
yes.
While you have the court's sympathy, I'm sure for the suffering that you endured in recent events, anyone found giving false testimony in a court of law will duly be punished. Please bear that in mind.
Yes, I know.
Very well then, witnesses, you will give formal testimony again now. On the subject of this curious anomaly regarding the note Miss Green claims to have received.
Oh, my throat. Ow.
Listen, I think it's only fair that you take a break and let me do everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey,
okay, at least we have the Allegro, so we're getting close.
Okay. I do remember now. 'Twas a week ago. Peradventure, that note was delivered unto me. On the day right therein. I did tarry a long hour at the Sluggish Salad, yet nobody came. Thereafter, on the evening I shared the company of the Japanese fellow, I did see the note had vanished.
I don't know what you mean. You think I snuck into this man's room, do you? Why would I? I can point out the villain here, and for that torn-off piece of envelope, I don't know anything about it.
You now claim to have received this letter, do you, Mr. Shamspear? Faith, 'tis so, my lord. And I would swear to have set it upon the table in my humble lodgings. Yet, 'tis clear to me now that since I returned from tavern that night, I have not laid eyes upon it.
Okay, actually, I think I'm gonna be right back, guys.
Oh dear.
Yeah, just give me like a quick 5 minutes, and I'll be right back. So yeah.
Break.
I'm back. Are you guys ready to go?
We must change this
Yes.
smug man's face.
I am ready to give you a break.
Okay, thank you. Again, I'm very sorry. I can feel myself kind of falling apart at this point, but I want to finish this up, so yeah. Alright. Continue on.
Yet, 'tis clear to me now that since I returned from the tavern that night, I had not laid eyes upon it. Well, that being the case, young lady, it would appear that your testimony was...
A lie? Is that what you think? How unfair you to think that I'm the one lying.
I beg your pardon?
I'm just a fledgling artist, as I said, and fledgling artists don't lie. The note was delivered to me to my address. Besides... You. We all know who the liar is around here.
If that's true...
That's me. I got it. If that's true, Miss Green, how do you explain the facts? This part of the envelope was without question found in Mr. Shakespeare's...
I don't see why I should explain.
Sorry?
I'm the fledgling artist. My job here is just say what happens, that's all. It's your job to give the explanation and the proof. You, the fledgling lawyer.
The fledgling will do his best. Evidently, my lean Japanese friend's cross-examination is our only hope of finding the truth.
Well, counsel?
I'm ready, my lord.
Very well then. The defense will now proceed with the cross-examination of the witnesses.
Miss Green clearly did break into Mr. Shakespeare's room. There can be no question of that. And that's how she acquired the note.
Yes, two facts are starting to lead me to a possible explanation for all this. And it's not a pretty one. Alright, I remember it's near the end, started to seem fishy on that one. On that date there, I think once I didn't know it came there for it.
Hold it!
When exactly did you notice that gone missing?
Such idle thoughts near occupy my mind. I am busy with greater ideas.
In other words, you didn't notice. Several days passed between the outing at the tavern and Mr. Natsume's visit to your room.
Yes, it would appear that the note disappeared sometime in that interval. Such idle thoughts still occupy my mind. I am busy with greater ideas. Wait, hang on, it's catching
there we
catching
go.
up on my
Oh,
end.
okay.
There we go. And yet, during that time, Miss Green was comatose in hospital. Was she in hospital?
In hospital.
Go back, open up that history.
Wait,
And yet, during that time, Miss Green was comatose in hospital.
In hospital.
Whoops!
Clearly, then she could have not been stealing things from Mr. Shakespeare's room.
Yes, of course. It's also some sort of misunderstanding, isn't it, Mr. Prosecutor, sir?
You have so far failed to give me a satisfactory explanation for how you came by the note. I am not here to advocate for your defense, madam. I will not tolerate inconsistencies in your story. You would do well to remember that.
Oh, dear me.
That's what Van Zeke's getting at.
Hold it!
Clearly, he has a right of the truth faster than you have.
It would seem that this note actually delivered to Mr. Shakespeare about 1 week ago.
Oh, does it?
But for some reason, it ended up in your possession. I can't think of any other way that could have happened except you breaking into Mr. Shakespeare's logic.
Objection!
But for what reason would the witness have done that? Ay caramba! I will not deny that Miss Green's possession of the note would appear to defy logic. Ugh. Oh my goodness. However,
I can take over if his voice is hurting your throat that much.
Sure, take fancy for tonight then, of that.
Alright. However, until and unless her involvement in this case can be proven some other way, any further pursuit of this note is meaningless.
Miss Green can only have come to be in possession of the note by stealing it from Mr. Shakespeare's room. And yet, there is no obvious reason why she would have done such a thing.
What if there was some other reason why she broke into his lodgings, though?
Yes, we should pursue that idea, Mr. Naruhodo.
We're close now, I can feel it. We're so close to a breakthrough!
Hold it!
So you don't want to tell the court the truth about the letter, is that it?
I'm a fledgling artist, remember? Artists are nearly always introverted characters.
And she's not wrong either. Nearly always introverted characters. Introverted? Faye, this fleshy doth readily cast aspirations about my nature. Yet I am an angel, a seraph. Birds do harmonize with my song. The wind doth frolic on my wing. Oh pity, wherefore dost thou accuse one so terrible?
Slide to the left! Slide to the right!
Terrible woman! Oh yeah, by the way, I guess I missed the animation from earlier when his hat was off. And he was just sliding from left to right.
Down, down, chew your bed, chew your bed, chew your bed, down, down, chew your bed, chew your bed, chew your bed.
They had too much fun with this animation.
Pure of heart? I don't think so. Even the fledgling like me can see you're just a failure.
Tragedy, thou shalt not know the true heart of an artist until thy destruction hereafter by death. On the day, yeah, there it is. on all the days, all the years, alas, to enlighten thee, thou must wait so long and in vain.
Mr. Naruhodo, inject with some clever remark. This is your chance to shine.
I'm no Shakespearean actor, Mr. Sato. No, as far as I can tell, the only thing that's going to resolve this argument
is evidence. Yes! It's clear that Miss Green did in fact break into Mr. Shakespeare's room, isn't it? And where she found this letter.
Yes, two or more or less foregone conclusions that lead me to a terrifying conclusion.
Terrifying?
Yes, I'm afraid to say that the outcome of this cross-examination may change how we look at this case completely. I don't know. Why would I? Because we gotta say something other than is it maybe the photograph?
Graph.
Yeah.
I would say the photograph is my current line of reasoning.
Objection!
Damn it! Yeah, I guess Duncan's file? Wait, but no, Duncan doesn't
that's
have
the
a file.
criminal.
Yeah, that's
What does she have? What does she have on her person?
The poison?
Objection!
Okay, that's on. Now to rewind time. Just a second.
I want my
Susanoo, grab onto me. Mr. Naohara, what are you doing?
We're going to time warping!
Mr. Naohara, you ready to stop abusing that power in court? But it helps me win.
Yesterday at the hospital, we saw you with this bottle. And though the contents spilt during the course of our meeting, a small quantity remained. According to the defense's independent analysis, Mr. Shom's chemistry set, the liquid was still in the bottle was identified as strychnine.
What? Strychnine? The very same poison that afflicted Mr. Shamspear.
Miss Green, you broke into this man's lodgings for one reason and one reason alone. To cover the end of the pipe that feeds the gas lamps in Mr. Shakespeare's room with poison. Well, did you?
Did you? Come on then! Say it! Say it, you villain! Can this be? You broke into my room to...
It may seem incredible to this court. But from the remaining clues, there's only one logical conclusion that we can reach. The person who attempted to take Mr. Shakespeare's life with poison was you, Miss Olive Green!
Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, dearie. Ow.
And then she died.
Oh dear.
Order! Order! Counsel, are you serious? This woman put poison on the end of the gas pipe with intent to kill?
Yes, my lord. There's no other way to explain the facts.
But if Miss Green did indeed set this odious trap 6 days ago, and the victim had put his mouth on the pipe that very evening, as if I forgot he did that.
Yeah.
Yo, bro, rewind time open. Yo, that's dirty! That's dirty though, bro! Bruh, why you gotta put your mouth on, bruh? I remember reading that the first time and go, oh no, you filthy!
You know, he put some Clorox wipes on it beforehand, you know.
I didn't put the Clorox wipes on it beforehand. Patrick, this is like late 1800s, early 1900s. They don't have that. Don't give me or them that excuse. Bro, you're filthy.
He has a lot of soap in his apartment, okay?
I mean,
Okay, there you go.
Did he really have to blow that hard though?
The attempted murder would have happened 6 days ago, surely.
Well, that's a very good point.
Perhaps not, my lord. I beg your pardon? There was significant police presence in the area that evening on account of the incident on Briar Road. Local residents would be interviewed throughout the night as part of the ongoing inquiry. A circumspect criminal would likely have chosen not to carry out any wrongdoing at that time.
Lord Van Zeeks?
And of course, the following morning, there was more activity at Mr. Shamspeare's address.
More activity? Yes! You mean his fellow lodger, Mr. Natsume, being arrested on suspicion of murder?
That's right. And as the defense has already proposed, Mr. Shamspeare was meddling with the gas in the pipe for that very sinister reason himself. He caused the gas stove in Mr. Natsume's room to go out, therefore extasiating the occupants. Poor Natsume.
But once Mr. Natsume had been arrested, his room was under constant surveillance by the police. In circumstances, Mr. Shakespeare had no reason to blow air into his gas pipe.
His intended victim being in a prison cell. With the need to tamper with the gas removed, the poison of the pipe lay dormant.
And then, 3 days ago now, the situation changed again.
Right, Mr. Natsume's trial, which took place here on the Old Bailey, came to an end.
A trial in which the man stood accused of stabbing Miss Green in the back, but was duly acquitted.
That resulted in Mr. Natsume returning to his lodgings for the first time in 2 days. And that very night, his gas stove mysteriously went out and Mr. Shakespeare was mysteriously poisoned.
When you lay it all out like this, it makes you realize how much stuff happened in like 3 days.
I know, right, man? I feel like Mr. Garadem is not gonna get any business after all of this shit went down whatsoever.
It was just like building and building and building, and then Suzeki came in, and then the whole car, and then the house of cards got knocked over.
Yeah. In conclusion, the poison that was presented on the mouth of the gas pipe had been put in the victim's room some 4 days earlier. With that new understanding, it becomes clear that this letter was all part of the plan.
What plan?
The court will recall that the note gave instructions to visit the Slug and Salad at 5 o'clock. And that recipient should tell no one else. The reason for those instructions are clear.
To ensure that the lodger would not be at home at the stated time. To make sure I wasn't home?
Exactly. While you were out, Miss Green could safely slip into your room, knowing that she wouldn't be disturbed.
You mean to say that letter
Was written by Miss Green, yes, in order to cover her tracks, so she took it away with her when she left. Just as she smeared the poison over the mouth of the gas pipe in your room!
I like this box.
Order! Order! What do you have to say for yourself, witness? Just who are you? Why did you try to kill me?
Miss Green's motive should be obvious. It's all tied up with someone whose name we've heard several times already in this course of the trial.
So, that's what's behind all this. You will share your apparent understanding with the court, please, counsel. Which person is behind this woman's motive for the attack on the victim's life? Would you really call him a victim at this point? I mean, he's technically a victim for what all of us tried to do to him, but also
Yeah.
Duncan Ross.
That's right. Before the defendant, Mr. Natsume, took up the residence at the lodgings at Mr. Garadad's, someone else was renting the room, Mr. Duncan Ross.
I knew I heard the name somewhere else. It was all over the papers a month ago, where the man died in strange circumstances at the haunted lodgings. That does ring a vague... Ah! Of course, yes! I remember now! The young man they claim was strangled by the Covet's curse or some such.
Sadly, my lord, it wasn't a curse of any kind, nor was it an accident. The man died from a result of Mr. Shakespeare blowing into the gas pipe and causing a gas leak into the room. It was murder, plain and simple!
Well, what do you know? The world is so unfair. Curses, curious deaths, that's all people care about. If it's an interesting story, they want to know. It doesn't cross their minds, that real people are involved. And once they're bored, just 1 month later, once the story lost its appeal, everyone's forgotten him.
You mean Duncan was...
Mr. Ross was Miss Green's fiance.
Fiance?
You may have not known until now who Miss Green really is, Mr. Shakespeare. But she's known exactly who you were all along. Because you're her sworn enemy. The murderer who took the life of the man she was to marry!
Mary!
Miss Green is not the case. That in order to act revenge on Mr. Shakespeare, you smeared poison over the end of the gas pipe.
This is all quite extraordinary. Am I correct in my understanding that you now accuse both parties, counsel? Each on different counts of murder?
Yes, my lord. That is correct.
Objection!
Inhaling so deeply, it appears that my fledgling learned friend has taken a lungful of dubious gas that's causing his judgment to be clouded.
What?
Why would Mr. Shakespeare have wanted to kill these lodgers, as you say? You have completely failed to provide a motive to
substantiate.
Thank you. You have completely failed to provide a motive to substantiate your accusation against the man. Yes, that's right, Mr. Reaper, my liege. I have been slighted. Just lies, all lies. I deny every other utterance.
You'll have to forgive me, Mr. Naruhodo, sir. But I don't intend to admit anything either.
Miss Green!
I'm sure you'll think I'm being very rude, but I am not going to be sent to the gallows for the likes of this scoundrel.
But you broke into that man's room! If you didn't do the smear poison on the pipe, what was your reason?
I thought I'd have a look around, that's all.
Fucking bullshit is what?
That's what now, hold on, actually.
Yeah.
You're right. I suspected him. He keeps jumping jacks behind me. It's pretty annoying. So I thought perhaps...
He keeps hitting my back.
So I thought perhaps I might find some evidence or something in this room. Evidence that was him who took Duncan's life.
Oh!
Well, villainous.
Okay. Oh, villainous! Oh, villainy! Oh, tyranny! Oh, rotundity of woman!
Excuse me.
Is that wrong? But in any case, whenever I leave my room, I do turn the key in the lock.
That whole place is falling apart. The locks of the doors are no different. Duncan showed me once how to unlock the door. With some turves and a piece of wire.
Oh, awfulness! Oh, artfulness! Oh, tyranny! Oh, profanity of woman! I like how in the middle of that he did give us that compliment. It was like, oh, that's pretty smart. But still! We will consider your trespassing on some future occasion. But for now, tell the court what you found. What evidence your search revealed.
Well, I spotted a note that is scented lying on the floor. And when I went to pick it up, I noticed something. One of the floorboards was loose, and underneath it, I discovered a secret hiding place.
Eh?
Yes, we also discovered that hiding place.
Inside, we found a newspaper cutting, a photograph, and an empty tin box. Yes, well, the thing is, when I found it, the box wasn't empty.
What? There was something in it?
Yes. This rather nice key.
What are you doing with that?
What the?
I came back at the right time, apparently.
Oh god, yeah. Oh.
Oh, my poor voice. I can feel the pain of doing that.
Every ounce of color has drained from his face.
Like, I would love to do a breakdown for a character again at some point, but tonight is not the night.
Give it here! Give it to me now! It's mine! I inherited it!
Now I smug.
What was that, witness? What did you say? You inherited it? No,
What's all this about? He inherited that key?
It was obviously important to you since you've gone such lengths to hit it. So I took it. I don't know what it's for, but you took something precious from me, so I took something precious from you. Well, if it means you can't open something now, I don't care.
Give it back this minute! Give it to me!
I'm multitasking.
Calm yourself, witness!
He didn't notice the key before all of this at all? So Mr. Shakespeare has tried, and in one case succeeded, to take a life of 2 lodgers now. Yes, his motive for doing so is the key to everything that's happened.
Kingdom Hearts.
It's true that there appears to be no motive to support the accusation against Mr. Shakespeare, at first. But considering everything we now know, there is actually something that could explain it.
What? What?
Blech! I need to recall every piece of evidence at our disposal. Everything we've seen and heard, like the one thing that we have completely neglected to talk about until now. Because I'm sure I caught a glimpse of the link that runs through all of these events.
Yo, it's looking at speed drawing.
In that case, counsel, I must demand that you present evidence to the court in support of your claim. What is it that you say can explain the motivation for Mr. Shakespeare's alleged crimes? Let me finish at least. Oh my goodness, you were quick on the draw, counsel.
Didn't even save or anything.
I didn't. You didn't say. You didn't even say it. Oh, you thought that I wasn't aware that you're tile hopping? You think what makes you think? What makes you? I'm the judge for a reason, counsel. I'm aware whenever anyone does it, and you're the one that see abuses the most. Can you just look at what I present? Oh yeah, right. That's an official police report, is it not? The Selden file. How did you get a hold of that? Selden?
The now sadly deceased Mr. Ross and the defendant, Mr. Natsume, have only one thing linking them: the fact they had lodgings of the same room.
Well, yes, we know this, certainly. A room that was formerly occupied by Selden. Until, that is, he was arrested by Scotland Yard for his involvement in multiple burglaries. I see.
And it happens to be the convict Selden left behind one very substantial mystery when he died.
The sum 1,000 pounds worth of loot that he stole, which as yet remains to be found. Real quick, I'm going to look up how much 1,000 pounds was worth in the early 1900s.
Alright.
Probably a lot.
A lot, probably.
Narhoda, why did you take my book?
Hold on. We need to research. We need to research for the players playing this right now.
1,000 pounds in 1900 is equivalent to the purchasing power to about 160,836 pounds.
And then converted to dollars, that is...
Alright, hang on. Let me just take now let me take that.
Copy and paste?
In U.S. dollars, that would be $161,643.82.
All right. Okay. Substantial amount.
Okay, give it back.
All right, there you go. Can you play Minesweeper in Susanna's book? I think Solitaire is in there. I think Solitaire might be in that book.
You can't play Minesweeper. That's a single-player game. Yes, of course. It's coming back to me now. It's written in this file here. 1,000 pounds lost en route to hell. That was how the paper summed it up.
And it seems to be one particular fellow inmate who was with the convict in his final moments. It's not hard to imagine Selden entrusting that inmate with his most closely guarded secret, the location of his stolen loot, and perhaps a key to unlock whatever container the valuables were in.
Looks like he's... Look at that face!
I don't know what to describe this emotion as.
What is that face?
I feel like this is some weird himbo energy, this face, I feel.
He's biting his lips.
Maybe? I don't know.
You mean this key is...
Mr. Shakespeare, it was you, wasn't it? You were at the capital offender's side when he died, were you not?
What are you talking about? It's a false charge, I tell you! A false charge! The name of the inmate who was with Seldom at his death isn't noted in this file. But a simple telegram to the prison where he died will quickly tell us how false the charge really is. But even if it's true, why would the man be so intent on killing every subsequent occupant of the convict's lodging?
There's only one explanation for that, my lord. It was the very room that Selden hid his loot!
So, it all comes out.
Yes, and having established that, all of Mr. Shakespeare's subsequent actions to make perfect sense.
When he was let out of prison following Selden's death, he made immediately for Mr. Garandeb's lodging in the hope of renting Selden's old room. However, the retired army man was unable to offer him the accommodations of his choice.
Because Selden's own room had already been let to someone else, Mr. Duncan Ross.
Which is why Mr. Shakespeare subsequently devised his gas-based plot to kill the occupant of the room. And when he was successful, he presumably intended to inquire about switching into the newly vacant room.
However, a certain jittery someone had beaten him to it.
Mr. Suzaki Natsume, the defendant of this case, no less.
So you decided to use the ploy with the gas again, didn't you, Mr. Shakespeare? This time,
I haven't received a text yet, I can ask.
That's a Natsume.
Oh, my bad, I thought I was muted that time.
No problem. All for one simple and avaricious reason. To get your hands on the 1,000 pounds of loot left behind by the dead convict!
You...
Ouch.
Autosave. Looks like I'm gonna snuff it before they get the stress in my neck. Oh wait, I know who's it. Listen, I want you to have my loot. I care. It's hidden in the room
where I was lodging when they got me. There's key to it. Take it. All always stay one step ahead, mate. See you in hell, I guess. Shakespeare.
I can't believe that's still his actual name.
This is mine.
What did he just say?
It's mine. That loot is mine.
Oh. Mr. Shakespeare?
It's all lies. I don't accept any of it. Why should I? After all, you don't have a shred of evidence. You can't prove I killed that fella. Forsooth, I'm the victim here, remember? Isn't that right, ladies and gentlemen? If I don't admit to it, there's nothing you can do. You can't arrest me, for the time being anyway. Verily, you can't arrest the victim, can you? Isn't that right, ladies and gentlemen? I'm so close. I just need a few more hours.
I don't like that face with this dance whatsoever.
All the virgins come to me.
No, wait, no.
I swear to myself.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
Got him!
I hate it.
I swear to myself, I get my hands on it, and I can almost taste it now. Did you really think I'd just give up?
There's no questioning in my mind now. This man is guilty, through and through.
He seems so utterly intoxicated by the idea of that loot. I'm afraid that however you hard press him, he'll never admit what he's done to Mr. Natsuno.
There is a way.
Naruto. Pardon?
There's one way I can finish him.
No.
He's already committed the most heinous crimes to get his hands on that loot. Which means all we need to do is find it first.
A fine plan. Were it not for the fact that the police thoroughly searched the room following the death of Mr. Ross. If it's there at all, it must be very well hidden indeed. Without conclusive evidence, I certainly cannot rule.
If only there was some way we can find the conflict loot quickly.
This is the final piece of this complex puzzle. I think we might have it in our possession already. Or rather, I think we might have something that can help us find where the loot is hidden. My lord!
Yes, counsel?
The defense would like to make a proposal. How about how we find the late conflict's hidden root? What? Oh, no!
Oh, God.
I thought I put in that band for a good sir.
That username is...
Ban.
Cease! We're in the middle of exposing!
Yeah. I believe we already are already in possession of something that could give us a clue on its whereabouts. It's our last chance, so it has to be worth a gamble. Besides, we've used the same technique once already, and it definitely paid off then.
Very well then, counsel. Let the court hear your idea. What do you propose we could use in order to locate the hiding place of the deceased convict's hall?
Okay,
I'm going to get...
Take that!
Pog.
If I'm not mistaken, those are Mr. Shakespeare's handprints on the wall of his lodgings.
That's right, my lord. Exposed as a result of the defense's independent investigation of the scene.
Based on the wonderful new discovery of the field of forensic science by the great detective, Mr. Sholmes.
Can you just read this one line in a Croc voice, please?
Okay, hang on. A great detective. Was that some kind of joke? Do you really think that I'm going to be daunted by a man with such a ridiculous title? No, that's a face. I don't remember who's reading this. I don't remember who's actually.
I think you should know a great bard ought to recognize such a title when he hears one, Mr. Shakespeare. Oh!
I do it. Okay. Perhaps we should compete for the honor of most ridiculous title. Ah! Tis Herlock Sholmes himself. What are you doing here, great detective? Your usual haunts are the filthy back streets of the capital, are they not? Ah, Mr. Reaper, it's been too long. And I see your complexion has worse as the last man. Ooh, bird!
Mr. Sholmes? He does know learn fancies then. Well, enough to say something like that in any case.
Mr. Sholmes. Though you may be held as a great detective by the population at large, that does not give you the right to come and go in my courtroom as you see fit.
If I may, my lord. Mr. Sholmes' newly developed scientific method has helped us uncover vital clues in this case already.
Clues, you say? I call them skin prints, my lord. My method identifies every location touched by individual under scrutiny. It's the method by which we were able to ascertain this gentleman's gas pipe activities. I gotta poop. I gotta poop. Ooh, no. I gotta poop. Yeah, it's a bathroom around here. Yeah. You need only a small sample. You need only a small sample of the individual has previously touched to make an indicator solution. In your case, sir, I used the teacup you have been holding. Elementary. So now, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes?
What about to use as a sample to make the indicator solution this time?
Thank you for offering your help, Mr. Sholmes. When the convict was arrested, he was living in what Soseki-san's room. We need a sample to help locate Selden's loot that was hidden in that room. What form of sample should we take? Hold on. Do we have any actual evidence? Yeah, I would think of present a person and then use that key, more likely, I would say. We will need something of Selden's in order to create an indicator or a solution to find his route. And something the convict owned perhaps happens to be in the possession of somebody listed in the court record. Yeah, there we go.
Upon my word, Mr. Naruhodo, your powers of reasoning appear to be on the up. So, which particular person do you have in mind? From whom can we obtain a possession of the late convict You didn't let me finish, you sly devil.
Miss
I see
Green!
you love Miller for the best.
You would.
Me? What do you want with me?
The key around your neck, if you please.
Sorry.
Bruh, you can't be serious right now. It's game over, man. Game over.
Game over!
He's just like, really? Really?
That key belonged to Selden. There will be remnants of excretions from that man's skin on the surface that we can use.
Very, very true.
That is the sample we need. Using it, we can create an indicator solution required for Mr. Shum's skin print seeker. And find out exactly where Selden touched the room that he used for rent.
Mr. Shakespeare, as one great to another, I assure you. If the Lake Convict's Hall is hidden somewhere in his former lodgings, I shall uncover it in no more than 30 minutes.
So, Mr. Shakespeare, the truth is well within our grasp now, and as such, you will never get your hands on Selden's stolen loot.
In that case, I will gladly let Mr. Sholmes have this key.
No! Give the key to me! The detective shan't have it!
It's over, Mr. Shakespeare.
No. No.
You're out of options now. There's only one thing left for you to do. Admit your guilt!
Whoa. Oh, shameful spear! Despair! Be thy name!
Oh, and he got shot. Oh my god.
Fucking dead.
And then Schultz and Green are just vanished off the face of the planet.
They knew what was going to happen. I never intended to kill the man. I just wanted to drive him out of the room. That's all.
So you had time to find the convict's haul of stolen goods?
Yeah, after you killed the young man, you still didn't move into the room. I asked the landlord, of course. I pleaded with him, but he refused.
Why?
I was 3 months behind with the rent, for one thing.
Mr. Garrett really had a lot to put up with.
He had the gas repair work done immediately afterwards, putting the room out of action for a while. And then, this Japanese man swooped in at just the right moment to sign the new lease.
Poor Mr. Natsume. What unfortunate timing.
Then, 5 days ago, after the incident on Briar Road when the Japanese fellow got himself arrested, I thought I'd finally have my chance, but it wasn't to be. No, the scene was sealed off and guarded by the police night and day.
And if I remember rightly, Mr. Sholmes spent the whole day reading books.
I couldn't even enter the room, let alone search for the loot.
Which is why, on the day of Mr. Natsume's acquitted, you returned to his room. Once you tried your luck at blowing air into the gas pipe that feeds into the stove of his room.
Unbeknownst to you, however, that action would lead you into a deadly trap.
William Shakespeare. How does it go? To be or not to be? That is the question.
From Shakespeare's Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 1.
Well, let me tell you in your case. It's not to be. That is the answer. You deserve to die for what you've done.
Uh,
At first, I really did think it was just a terrible accident. I never forget our conversation that night before Duncan died.
Gas supply to my new lodgings are a complete disaster, you know, Olive.
The gas supply?
Yes, the stove always seems to go in and out in the middle of the night for some reason. That's no joke. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
They say it's a convict's curse.
Oh, Duncan, please, don't stay there. I don't care how cheap it is.
Alright then, if that's important to you, I'll start looking for a new place.
There are spare rooms in my house. Why don't you leave that horrible room tonight?
No, I'd better not. We'd say we'd be waiting until we graduated before we told our parents, remember?
But that was the last time we ever spoke. That very night, he fell victim to the gas. If only I'd known it was going to happen. I was insisted he left that horrible room that instant. But instead, all I've been left with is bitter regret. I stopped going to school. But something kept drawing me back to that house on Briar Road. I saw a stooped Eastern-looking man with a mustache coming out of the house one day when I was there. He walked up the road at the grubbery for some food, so I followed him and sat myself down next to him. He had some watery-looking soup and started to pick a quarrel with the petitionary.
That place is cursed, I tell you! Cursed! The ghost of that guy who used to live there and is trying to suffocate me! I wake up in the middle of the night from freezing to death because the stove has gone out. The room is full of gas and I can hardly breathe. But the pipes have been checked. No problem there. It's like I'm the problem. That's what they're thinking.
But how could that be? Duncan was gone and now this man has almost suffered the same fate. Could it really be a curse? Then I remembered. A rumor I heard about how the gas companies go around investigating the gas installations.
A rumor? You mean?
Yes. Everybody heard the stories, it seems, about how they go around checking the pipes.
How anything connected to the gas can be extinguished by blowing air into the pipework.
That's when I started. A little flicker of doubt in the back of my mind that just wouldn't go away. Was it really an accident, though? Once I had the idea, it wouldn't leave me alone. It plagued me day and night. So I bought this at one of the black market of the East End.
Black market?
I'd never been. I just heard people talk about them. And you can really buy anything if you can think of there. In some way, being able to get my hands on this so easily made me even more determined. I had to find out one way or another. Was Duncan's death an accident? Or was it murder?
Your chosen method for establishing the truth is simple, but highly effective. Smear poison on the gas pipe you suspected the man of tampering with, and wait.
Mr. Shakespeare was innocent, nothing would come of what you'd done. But if he was guilty, he would pay for his crimes dearly.
I found out the name of the man I suspected, William Shakespeare. And then I wrote him a little note. I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross. Come to the Slug and Salad on Briar Road at 5 p.m. on the 17th. Don't tell anybody about this letter or the meeting. It is a matter of utmost importance. If he'd done it, I knew that would worry him enough so he'd be sure to go. So I wait to see if it worked.
And of course, Mr. Shakespeare followed the instructions to the letter.
I worked where the gas pipes was straight away. So I smeared a good amount of poison I bought all around the mouth of the pipe. All this time praying that the devil's work wouldn't be done. That's all just some wild fantasy. Actually, no. All the time praying that the devil's work would be done, and the code would get his just desserts.
"3 days ago, when you were first stood in the dock before me, this whole affair seemed relatively straightforward." "Yes, my lord!" "I certainly never imagined the depths of depravity that we should subsequently find lurking behind the scenes. It has been a long road, my Nipponese friend."
Yes!
And one I certainly didn't I'm just gonna say envision, and one I certainly didn't envision walking with you. Nevertheless, together we have reached the light at the end of the tunnel, as it were. Miss Green,
Yes, my lord.
you will henceforth be stripped of your freedom as punishment for the attempted murder of Mr. William Shakespeare.
Yes, I know.
And you, Mr. Shakespeare, you will be tried for the murder of Mr. Duncan Ross in cold blood, and the subsequent attempted murder on Mrs. Suzeki Natsume here present.
Mr. Naruhodo,
Yes?
yesterday at the hospital, when you and your friend stopped me from...
From ending your life by drinking the poison, what was left from the poison bottle?
I wasn't myself. I can't even really remember what was going through my mind. To be or not to be, I suppose. That's the question that's so hard to answer, it seems.
Well, personally, I'm glad for your being here, Miss Green. And I'd like to believe that's a blessing Mr. Shakespeare didn't die when he ingested the poison. For your sake, and the very least.
Because of you, I chose life, not death. And now, you made the truth come out at last. Really, I can't thank you enough. Oh, Miss Green.
Mr. Suzeki Natsume. Yes, my lord. The court declares that you are exonerated from all blame in this matter. You are really unlucky, my man. My goodness. You just got... I don't know who above you made angry, but they decided to dump all their anger on you. Like, for real, though.
Good lord!
Like, oh my goodness. Accordingly, I will call upon the ladies and gentlemen of the jury to present a verdict of not guilty.
We are in full agreement, my lord.
In that case, I hereby declare the defendant not guilty!
Confetti!
We're just not rushing to vote! Court is adjourned!
Whew! Alright.
Oh, yes! Yes! At last! Divine justice duly done! Divine justice? My dear fellow, if there was any divine justice in this world, you would shave that mustache.
Bruh.
No! This has nothing to do with my mustache!
Some say the luxurious mustache is a sign of physical prowess, Mr. Tom.
Look who stood up and hold on, Squire! Once again! You saved me from doom!
I'm very happy to help you, Mr. Natsume. Congratulations on your acquittal. You're the second in almost as many days.
I was first acquitted with a gained affection for English literature whilst in a great homeland empire. And then, by a twist of fate, I was brought to the land that bore the fruit of that literature. Only, the city of bricks and mortar became my prison. Try as I might, I never found my feet here. In the end, I confined myself to my room and let light through friendly old books.
You had such a difficult time, haven't you? That's an understatement.
But a week ago now, I dragged you out of that dark and dingy room of yours, did I not? You did. It has seen more of life in this week than in all my years to date. And for the first time, I feel I've begun to see the true face of the English that's so far been hiding from me behind the wall of fog. My dear fellow, there is nothing special about the true face of the English, as you put it. Wheresoever one goes in the world, humans are humans. There are few genuine differences. Yes, I think you're right. I finally started to see that, and I'm going to understand something. I worked out why I was attracted to English literature in the first place. It made me see that whatever our nationality, we humans all have the same hopes and fears. We're all just doing our best to live.
Well said. I've come to feel the same way.
I made a decision too. I'm going to cut short my study tour here and return to Japan!
That probably for the best. What?
Just so we could
Don't you have
visit
to turn with that
England.
face, though?
It's a terrible shame. Oh.
Oh, I know. That does tug at my heartstrings. It really does.
Listen,
But I
Saseki knew
decided
that.
I'd like to take I decided I'd like to take everything I've learned here in Britain and write something of my own.
Look, Saseki knew he was gonna become the next Maya, so he dipped.
A novel of sorts, I suppose.
Oh my. So you're creating your own literature, Mr. Natsume? How wonderful.
Oh, well, no, I mean, I want to presume to call it literature! Why not? Well, that is precisely the definition, Mr. Mustache. I suppose you're right, yes. It will, in a way, be literature. But as of now, all I know is that I try my hand at writing. I have no delusions of grandeur.
I, for one, would love to read your work.
Well, all things considered, it may be for the best. After all, you have once again emerged victorious from a battle with the Reaper.
That's very
that's
true.
And there is no salvation for a person in the docks when the Reaper is at the prosecutor.
The desire to return to post safe to the perceived safety of your homeland is one I quite understand.
My goodness, yes, faced with such a terrifying Prosper. Nobody would consider that cowardly, I'm quite sure.
You know, I didn't think about that before, but now...
But that's not why I'm leaving! I mean it!
Objection!
Objection!
Why do you bully this man?
And that was the case we found ourselves embroiled with 6 months ago. Seki-san did indeed return to Japan and submitted a report about both cases to the government. It was on reading that report that Professor Mikotoba was prompted to visit the scholar, and barely any time later, Susato was given the news that she must return to Japan as well. On the back of the telegram stating falsely that her father had been fallen gravely ill. The only possible explanation that comes to mind is what happened after that trial, on the following day. The day that we uncovered the loop hidden by the now deceased convict of the former lodgings.
Oh, well done, Mr. Sholmes. How simply marvelous of you. To cover the secret hiding place in just one day?
Isn't it supposed to take 30 minutes?
As I believe I told you, my dear fellows, skimpers are extremely useful in such situations. Wouldn't you agree, Gregson? Why am I here? Also, what are you buying?
Grixie has been happily much in agreement the whole time, Hurley. Happily, I think perhaps humorously might lead you closer to the truth.
So, it transpires the man fashioned the hiding place in the ceiling.
And what's in it? What's exactly in the loot?
So let's look then. If you're ready, let's examine the light burglar's hall.
Get the goods.
What is that?
It looks to be some sort of neckband or collar.
A collar? It's huge though.
And look at the gemstones it set in it. I can see why it's going to be worth 1,000 pounds. Perhaps it could have been a belt. Oh, have you not noticed what's inside there? There's some dark stains.
You don't think they could be blood, do you? I mean, there's quite a lot of it.
On the second thought, perhaps I would not have it as a belt. Then, of course, there's this emblem here. A large letter B and a small crown.
What does it signify, you think?
Oh, I have noticed that. I feel as though I've seen that emblem somewhere before, you know? Where could have it been?
That's enough of that, I think.
What? What's the matter with Mr. Sholmes? All the color is drained from his face.
Well, Inspector, I believe you ought to be taking this. Aren't you? It could be valuable evidence. It must be kept safely under lock and key. Yes. Get your grubby hands off that, you lot, and hand it over now. And hand it over now.
I've never seen a collar that large before. And all those jewels certainly seem to be extremely valuable. But that's not what stood out to me. At least, not that I noticed. Those dark marks on the inside of the collar, those stains. Could they really have been blood?
Well, that was a funny case, wasn't it? But it's all buttoned up now.
You look very pleased, Iris.
I am, because I'm starting to wonder what could possibly be as the basis for this month's story in the magazine. But this case will be perfect. It feels so fascinating.
You're talking about the latest installment of the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, I assume.
The mystery of the Knife of the Mist. The mustache man in the convict's curse, perhaps. It could make a two-part story. Oh, I can't wait!
A word, please, Iris.
Yes, what is it, Hurley?
I'm sorry, but you can't write about this case. It's out of the question.
What? Why not? It's a great case.
Oh, I know. It involves me. Then I shall have it try to insist that you limit yourself to the first of your two titles. The second must never be written. Is that clear?
Yes.
And so it was that the second of Souseki-san's cases became buried in obscurity. Now, looking back, I feel I understand. I can see why Mr. Sholmes forbade Iris from publishing the story. It would take a little longer before I saw the link between everything that had happened and would happen. For it wasn't until 2 months after the arrival of Susato-san's letter that events began to unfurl again, with an incident that took place at the very heart of the eagerly awaited Great Exhibition of London.
Oh lord, it's coming.
In case that's the end of case 2.
Alrighty.
And Patrick, when you pick this game up next week, you will experience what I think the longest case in Ace Attorney.
Case 5 of Ace Attorney 1 is still longer.
Yeah, because that's like another half of the game, but in terms of like a regular Ace Attorney case, like this beats out Justice, Spirit of Justice's final case from what I hear, and oh boy!
I have to go back and see there is actually to be continues, but it's mostly every investigation trial is just extremely beefy with information.
Yeah, so guys, like I wouldn't be surprised if, judging by that, this might end up being like over like 10 sessions or something like that. Some kind of ridiculous amount of.
We'll figure it out once we actually get into the case.
But yeah, as for case 2, let me go back to the title screen just so we have some music in the background for us. Yeah, so select adventure. There we go. Alright. So yeah, for case 2, I really enjoyed this one. I really like how it followed up from case 4 of the original game. Really puts a lot more of that case into light now. I think this one was genuinely really fun to solve. I really like the characters all involved in this one and how many things how many little things kept adding up together. I like that the turn of green being the murderer of this one. Yeah, like, also I think there are a lot of gameplay stuff that I really enjoyed improvements of. Like, I think Great Deduction was a lot better because I didn't think Holmes went crazy too far out of his deductions, and you just only need to course correct him a little this time. In general, I would say Holmes I liked a lot more in this case compared to anything in the original game. Too, I would say. Yeah, I think this one was really great, and if that's considered the low point of the game, I'm excited as hell to see where the rest of this goes at this point.
Go on, Sophie.
I would say if you're planning on wanting to play this game, you should probably stop watching these live streams now. Because we're going into the big boys now.
Yeah.
Yeah, from here on out, cases 3, 4, and 5 of this game are really, really important cases. Because case 1 and 2 of this game is for the most part are individual cases that are slowly building up. Case 3 is where the story of DCS 2 starts.
Oh lord, we're really in it now.
But how'd you guys feel about case 2, especially going back to this one, kind of deal?
It's certainly a lot easier when you're actually playing through it and not through a love translation, of course. But I think, like, I was a bit iffy on like the first half with the whole gas thing, and only really got into it around the second half. But I definitely appreciate it a lot more now, knowing where it's going. Like, especially since like they use the gas thing to figure like, oh shit, the tea is in the fucking soap. It's of course the soap. But I gotta admit, when I heard Olive Green's like reason about doing, like, you know what, she's right though. That's clever. I mean, she deserved it. Oh, and a little fun thing I learned only recently, when Shakespeare's plea when he first got up is a line from Macbeth. And the story of Macbeth is essentially a man trying to usurp the throne for his loot. And he does so by killing a king, which in the original play is called Duncan.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's where the pun comes in.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. As for me, I generally feel this. I feel the same way that Sophie does. Because like the second trial of case 2, I think really does save this case. I do think the low point in this case is when the gas comes in, but not necessarily because of the gas itself. It's because I think case 2 has the worst case of juror is evidence.
Mm-hmm.
And because man, it is really fortunate that they got that lady from off the street.
Real quick, you can keep talking. I just actually have to use the restroom real quick, so I will be right back. You can keep on talking, though.
Okay. Because I would say even more so than in case 5, Naruhodo would have 100% lost that case if she wasn't there. Because
Yeah.
she was the only, she was 100% his out. Cause he had nothing else to stand on if she wasn't there. So I consider specifically her to be the low point of the case. But the second half definitely saves it because of Miss Olive Green here.
Yeah, just that. Shakespeare is also a really fun culprit/victim thing. Just the sheer fact that the victim is also the culprit is also fun.
It's also just one of those things where just like you see how goofy his animations are, but then when you start to think about what he actually did, it's actually pretty messed up.
I also find funny that they once again dupe that, like, oh no, someone died. Oh wait, he's alive.
Yeah.
I love that scene.
I think what also helps Shakespeare to be, I guess in this case, a likable convict.
Yeah.
It is, and I think what really helps is simply the fact though there were some moments where he was genuinely confused as we are.
Yeah.
Like, hang on, excuse me? Hang on, time out. You were trying to kill me?
Hold up.
It's like, oh my, bro, hang on, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on, run it back.
Run it back.
It's also, once again, DGS2's strength of pretty much building up from the first game and just expanded it to be a lot more thoughtful and whatnot.
Like, again, I've said it before, but, I really didn't like Case 2 of the original game, but I felt like, especially even by Case 2 of this game, like, there's just a lot more complexity and a lot more intrigue on the cases that are actually going on. Because that was my big problem with DGS1. It's like not only gameplay stuff that I feel like is fine-tuned in this game, but 1 never really feels like it gets to a big point of interest. It feels like you're playing just a really long prologue for 2 kind of deal. It doesn't feel like its own game. I don't have that problem with DGS2 so far. And I've been actively, invested from the very beginning of this one, so...
I do feel...
It's one of those things where DGS was, a lot of the stuff that makes DGS 2 like really good, it's because of DGS 1.
I'd argue that to a point, kind of deal, because I also argue Ace Attorney 1 is still a standalone game on its own and still sets up stuff for later games. Even in the standalone case of the cases by themselves and not even so much of the plot points that continue on and stuff like that, I just find these cases a lot more interesting than anything from the original game besides case 1 kind of deal. I just notice like for me there is a clear jumping quality between the two games for me on this one.
Yeah, that is the considerate point. That's it all just depends whether you consider it one full game or just two, but like that is purely subjective.
I think just by the fact that these were originally sold as two separate games, I gotta view it as such kind of deal, you know?
Fair.
It's that reviewer part of my brain I can't turn off on that, you know, kind of deal.
But, the improvements to Logic Theater in this game are so is so good. Like you already got a taste of it in case 2. I think my favorite Logic Theater is actually in case 3. In case 3 has my favorite Logic Theater.
Oh, they had fun with this one particular Logic Theater in case 3.
Very much looking forward to that.
Also, in case 3, there is one character design in case 3 that
oh yeah.
that I am surprised I haven't seen fan art of at this point.
Oh, there's a lot of fan art of her already. I just haven't retweeted it.
Okay. Okay. Because she has a really appealing design. None of us have popped up on my timeline, though. And that's what catches me off guard. It's like, where's this character? Why is nobody drawing this character?
Well, it's also the fact people might still be going into DGS2 into whatnot. But yeah.
Still. It's just still.
Yeah.
But that's what's up for case 3.
I guess just for a fun bit of trivia, but this is going to be the last time we're gonna see Saseki at all in this game. It's just kind of humorous because according to development, Takumi wanted to have Saseki appear in every single case, but decided not to, which is probably a good thing.
He would definitely have a Larry syndrome, I feel like, at that point if he appeared in everything kind of deal.
I think he did his purpose by this point, so
yeah.
Just let the man rest.
Yeah.
I do think that is like the funnest part of this case, is that near the end of it, when you truly find out everything that went on the span of like 6 days.
Lot shit went down.
Yeah.
Like, Saseki is goofy, but you can feel for the poor man.
I think the only one that came out on top is Saseki. I think everyone else did. Oh, this kind of got blown over to the wayside. Like, Mr. Garrett is gonna have a hard time fighting Logic at this point. His wife is currently in jail. I want to like.
Yeah.
He's still in jail by case 5 of DGS1.
Yeah. So.
Good.
Damn.
No, in fact, I remember while I was making my villains list, I put, like, as a joke, I put her in S tier. Because at the time, that's how much I didn't like her when I found out what she did, and the reason why she did it. It's just like, you had a temper tantrum and you almost killed somebody, bruh. Bruh. It was simply a misunderstanding. Woman, control yours. Go to jail until you learn how to control your anger. But overall, I like case 2 of this game more on the repeat than I did the first time.
Yeah, again, like, you know, the original playthrough, I know some of you really took issue with how I was feeling throughout this one. That is definitely not the case with DGS2. I am, like, fully invested into this now.
And I want to see where the hell we go for these last 3 trials, because, oh boy.
Now, all that being said, I also will say case 3 is when the Ace Attorney-ness of Ace Attorney-ness starts to come out a little more.
I guess just to ask, what do you think is the significance of the collar?
I think it's with that Bound of Baskerville's story that, because I remember that from the original game, Iris was forbidden to publish that story, so the Hound thing being around the collar, because, you know, relating to dogs and blood around it, it's definitely related to that. I just don't know what the case actually involved, kind of deal. So, that's my current theory on that right now. I hear you, Jason. Don't...
What?
I hear you go.
Oh no! Oh no! I had a small case of hiccups there.
Okay, because it sounded like you're like.
Oh no! That was me going. That was me just going. That was me just going.
Oh my god. Okay.
Okay then.
Well, next session's gonna be fun.
So, yeah, we're gonna. How many cases? I'm not. How many cases? How many sessions do you think this next one is going to take? Kind of deal.
Probably 5.
5 sessions?
I would say there are 5. There are a total of 5 breaks. It depends on how fast we can go through the information, because it's easy.
Because it's one of those, I might have to talk and see if maybe we get 3 sessions a week during this case in particular, kind of deal.
That might be probably for the best, because there were certainly times at that case where like, okay, I want to keep going.
Yeah, I think what we might do is I might make some night into some other time, kind of deal, that we just use Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for...
I think about it. It's probably for the second half of this case. We can probably do a 3 session.
All right, so like next week we should be good for the 2, but after that switch to 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, one more thing. Bring plenty of water.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of dialogue.
Yep.
Like the good thing of case 3 is when going back to it, it's long, but it's very entertaining long.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think at this point we need to go over to the memes because you guys won't shut up about it in chat right now. Good lord. So let me get that up real fast for y'all.
Oh, I can finally share this video then. Hang on.
Okay. Move that. Adjust that. Okay. And then let me share screen on that real fast.
Big lion.
Big lion.
All right. I'll share my screen real fast so that we can all view these at the same time, sort of deal. So the end of case 1, the point, so third wheeling, V-light. Yep. I can confirm. Yes.
Yeah.
Shakespeare, I live.
I love that.
Fancy Sophie.
Yeah. I think the fact that you just pointed out just made me break even more.
Yeet.
Did you see on Twitter? Did you see on Twitter someone actually drew that? Actually drew Jazzy throwing the bottom behind.
Yes, and it hit the person. Yes.
And it hit the person.
So what sex says to drink to all that.
Huh.
Sorry, I had to do it to him. Big lie. Alright, sniped.
Oh my god.
Whoa. Oh, shameful spear! Despair!
So you can.
And that Schultz and Green are just vanished off the face of Alright, the real Slim Shady. Oh no.
Someone from the Nico
Oh no.
server made this, if it loads.
Will the real Slim Shady please stand up? I repeat, will the real Slim Shady please stand up? We're gonna have a problem here.
Y'all act like you never seen a white person before. Jaws all on the floor like Pam, like Tommy just burst in the door and started whooping her ass before they first were divorced, sewing her over furniture. It's the return of the... Oh, wait, no, wait, you're kidding. He didn't just say what I think he did he? And Dr. Dre said... Nothing, you idiots. Dr. Dre's dead. He's locked in my basement. Feminist women love Eminem.
Chicka, 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 Slim Shady, I'm sick of him. Look at him, walking around having his you-know-what, flipping the you-know-who. Yeah, but he's so...
Hold it!
Slim Shady, yes, I'm the real Shady. Please stand up. Please stand up. Cause I'm Slim Shady, yes, I'm the real Shady. All you want to are just imitating, so won't the real
I think just the extra phrase is what's killing me.
There he goes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, that is going to be a wrap for tonight. Thank you all for watching. Especially with my throat dying. Oh my god. But I don't know what the plan is for tomorrow night with Tevi for some night. I'll have to ask him and find out what the plan there is. But yeah, next week, case 3. Gonna be a big one. So I will see you guys then. Have a good night.